Welcome, you wild souls. Those are the words that came out of my mouth. And I'm kind of grateful that the joy popped out because before this started, I was like, just feeling the darkness, the sadness, I love my job, but also there are days where it's just, I can feel so wonderful and so awesome. And then if I tap into certain energies, it'll just take me low, 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 low. And I feel like I'm meant to share that with you today because I feel like a lot of us are going through very similar things. I mean, obviously, the planet itself is going through so much. So when this reading was whispered to me, I I felt it. I really felt it because when I diligently worked with the moon cycles, it was really eye opening. I think I did it for about 15 months straight. I don't believe I ever missed a reading, and if I did, I like made up for it or like maybe tied it in with another moon cycle or something for, and it was all for a reason. But there are some that stick with me more than others, and every month, every cycle, I would not dread this one, but I definitely, it was, I in my mind I like thought of it as the shedding, you know. And since we just had that heavy, can this relationship be salvaged reading, and if you haven't seen that, that's the last reading. If they call me to, I'll put a link below. Otherwise, follow the breadcrumbs, you'll find it. It's on my channel. But yeah, it was this, can this relationship be salvaged, or is it time to start over? And so I was like, I felt like that scene from one of my favorite scenes from Sex and the City. I speak about it a lot, where Charlotte's all upset, and Carrie says to her, Charlotte, you shit your pants this year. I think you're done. Because she was so afraid something was going to happen to her and her baby, because she had lost, a baby before. They couldn't get this adoption, like all these things were happening. And then, so long story short, that is what I'm feeling right now, because as you saw in the title, this is about transition and forgiveness. And it's interesting because when the Dark Mirror, when they told me they wanted to do this, I was like, are we doing Dark Mirror? I mean, I'm kind of, like I have a few decks that are like the deck that we used for the last reading. Some of them, they don't fuck around. It's like, it's the shadow. We cannot live on this earth. We cannot function on a daily basis in a human life form existence without having light and shadow. There's no such thing. And this utopia that people keep seeking and searching for is within, and a movie that comes to mind is Anna and the King, another one that's free on YouTube this month. I've been saying this is today in real time. I believe it's July 27th. Let me look, because I think it's either the 26th or the 27th. 27th, yeah. YouTube, I've noticed this now. This is the third summer, because 2 summers ago we were home free and we couldn't just rent things, from the library anymore. We had to watch things on our phone. And so, we found YouTube, and then realized shortly that the commercials were annoying, and we're like, let's just pay to, not have commercials. It's been the best. I think it was $22 a month, and you get up to like 5 people, and you can share it with, they don't know who lives in your household. It's 5 in a household. But anyway, so long story short, it was totally worth it to us when we divided it per person. We were like, and 11/11 was our wedding anniversary. I'm like, oh, it's $11 per person. I'm like, that's a no-brainer for me to just have no commercials. I'm like, yeah, this is good. But anyway, we started like finding that YouTube had all these movies for free, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm like, this is so awesome. Yeah. Until like the fall came around, and then we realized, oh, I'm like, I bet it was because it was summer and they're trying to get people to be on their channel, right? They're trying to get people there because a lot of people are out and about, they're on vacation, they're away from their televisions, they're away from their phones, which is good, right? So that's why they do it for free. So with that being said, Anna and the King is a great movie. It is based on a true story. I will let you research that on your own, but the one that I love, because there's many versions of this story, The King and I, the musical, but Anna and the King is with Jodie Foster, and I have a hard time remembering his name, who plays the Emperor of Japan. But the I think, yeah. Anyway, I'm like, if not, I'm like, is it a dynasty? Is it China? I'm like trying to, I'm no expert. I'm no expert, but I do have an affinity for the Asian culture. Um, but anyway, I digress. So they have this like forbidden affair. And at the same time, there are these quote unquote servants that are also having a forbidden affair. And I don't want to give too much away, but it is so worth it. But the end is like, I just remember the first time I saw the movie and how I was just the end all the way around. Like the last, like, I think half hour of the movie is just like, holy shit, you know? But there is this resolve when death comes for some of them, and there's just this resolve in their faces, and it's just like this kind of like, I would do it all again, like I don't care, you know, like, you know. And it made you realize like what love really is and what love, you know, should feel like, right? Because sometimes we're in relationships, and I don't know if this is going to be a love reading, but I'm really feeling this heavy transition and forgiveness. So it's a love reading, but I'm saying like, I don't know if it's going to be strictly romantic or, you know what I mean? Or if it's going to be all of the above. I never know until like, I haven't even cracked these open yet. I have no idea. I'm going to, you know, do it with you. But I just remember like, you know, that. And in fact, I even said, recently, my partner was like, you know, do you want to watch that movie? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. I'm like, it's so good. I'm like, it's so good. I'm like, maybe you should watch that one on your own. I'm like, please do. It's super, 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 super good on a million levels. It's so good. There's so much there. I'm like, but the ending as an empath, I was just like, I don't know if I can relive it again. But at the same time, if you're looking for a really good cry, because I've been super emotional. I thought I'd be more emotional during Cancer season, but I'm finding that at the end of the Cancer moon, because we're in like right now in real time, it's the 27th of July 2024, and it is the third quarter, last quarter moon, and we only have 1 week left of the Cancer moon, and then we'll have the new moon in Leo on the 4th. Also, Mercury is going retrograde on the 5th, and we're in the shadow of that. So there's a lot of that, you know, going on as well. And of course, as you know, we have the Lionsgate portal on the 8th. There's just a lot. And I feel like this moon is really like a shedding, like the Cancer moon. We spoke about it. We spoke about the Cancer energy when it came in. We spoke about the Cancer moon when it came in. And when we had the double Cancer energy, I really thought I'd be more like emotional, but it was interesting. It was like, I don't know. I was just more in like a happy, very flowy. It's like I just like tapped into my moon, which is water, my Scorpio. I just tapped into that, and I just like kind of rode the wave of that. And then ever since Sagittarius season came in, I'm a triple Sag fire. I'm thinking, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. You know, like every Leo season is so amazing for me, but this one, I'm like, oof, I can feel it. So it does not surprise me if this is going to be really heavy for some people or really emotional, and I will do my best to, you know, be as kind and loving and gentle as possible. But as you know, my bullshit barometer that is part of my existence. You know, I mean, I'm a muse on multiple levels. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. I'm so many things, and I am the hand of God. You know, and this is my purpose, and this is what I'm meant to do. So with that being said, you know, seek out whatever messages, you know, follow the breadcrumbs where you need to find your story. But I am just feeling a lot of emotion at the end of this Cancer moon. And if you are too, please let it flow. I will attach a link to this song. If you haven't heard Kate Hudson's new album, it's her first album. It's so good. It's everything I ever wanted from her. There is a million things I could go on and say about it. You know, last reading, Cher was our spirit animal, and this one I feel like Kate Hudson is our spirit animal. And I saw, and it was so interesting too, because I saw a shorts. It was like I was drawn to this song called Glorious, which is amazing. I can't even talk about the song because I'll start crying. And then, and please seek it out. It's so, so good. But then right under it was a shorts from Kate Hudson talking to her brother Oliver about something that was said, a critique or just somebody, you know, because her brother is an actor as well. Their mom is Goldie Hawn. and their father was John Hudson. And so they have this really cool, interesting life. You know, Kurt Russell was, they call him Pa. He was like their father. John Hudson wasn't really there, even though he was alive. It was like Kurt Russell really raised Goldie Hawn's children, and it's just really beautiful and really special. And so if you're not familiar with Kate Hudson, check her out and check out this album. I listened to every single song, and I will tell you, as a child of the 70s and the 80s, I'm like, man, she nailed it. Like, she nailed it. Like, it was like she single-handedly, I feel like, brought back an energy that has been really missing in the music world. It's hard to explain. At least it is for me. So, you know, it might not be for you. But yeah, I mean, check her out. Check her out. Okay. So today I'm going to add the numbers up because I feel as if there must be some significance here. So angel numbers, numerology, you know, if you're not familiar with that, something to definitely dive into and look into. But this third quarter moon energy, so even that is a 3, but I don't know if that will mean anything, because I say last quarter or third quarter, it just depends. And this particular month I happen to write first and third. I don't always do that, but I was really called to do that this month. So maybe the 3 is significant to you. Also, I got these new super cute overalls. I don't know if you guys can see them. They are so cute, but it's my first time wearing them. They're so cute when you're standing up, and I sat down and I was like, look at, because they've got these little pockets that I love. But then I was like I couldn't get comfortable because there's like a weird slat there. So if you see me, I'm trying to, you know, when you wear something new for the first time and you're still trying to figure it out. So I apologize. I put the outfit together, but you know, wasn't thinking about that. Anyway, okay. So today, the numbers are 7 for July, 27 is the date, which is 9, and then 2024, which is 8, okay? So, 798. Isn't that interesting? 798 instead of, right, 789. So it's almost as if, like, I feel like they're trying to say, like, 798 is, hi, Bubba. Bubba says hello. She just walked in and walked right underneath the table. It was so cute. So I feel like they're like saying, like, some of us are going from 7 to 9 and you're trying to avoid 8, but you cannot get to 9 without 8. Does that make sense? So I feel like there's some pearls in here. And I've seen your comments. I've been trying to slowly respond to you guys because between all the channels now I have 3 channels, one for Bubba, Lula's Life, and the Magical Medium. And I love it. And it's super fun. And I love creating. I love bringing the messages to you guys. I love my job. I love my life. So thank you so much. And thank you for the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All of my information is on this channel, so thank you for the contributions. I am in gratitude in advance for the contributions that you send my way, the prayers of abundance that you send my way. I am so grateful because it helps to continue to do this work for you, so thank you. But there is definitely, so what I was going to say is I'm working on getting back to all of your comments, but I will get there. I'm working through my own human stuff too. But just know that I read your comments, or if sometimes I just like it or give it a heart and I don't respond, it's not like I'm, you know what I mean? It's nothing like, it's just, that's why I don't respond at all, because I know a lot of people, like, I know you personally, or, you know, we've known each other through my channels and stuff. And so it's like, you know what I mean? So I feel like just liking it and giving it a heart. I have so much more to say, especially if you write something so heartfelt and you take the time and energy. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing because it helps others, but I also appreciate you doing it because it helps the algorithms. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, all of that stuff. I see all the shares that you guys do. Thank you so much. It literally helps. And you're helping others to find their way here, right? Because they're just finding their way home. They're finding their way back to self. So in numerology, so 7 and so we'll go in order. 7 and 8 is 15, plus 9 is 24, which is the number 6. So maybe that means something. And then the third quarter, if you add that, 6 and 3, that's 9, but it still goes down to the number 3. And maybe that means something. Maybe there's, you know, the 3 is really significant for you, or there's 3 people in your life that you need to ask questions about. I don't know how many readings we're going to do, but I do know that, you know, sometimes you're drawn to all of them. Sometimes you're just drawn to one, you know, whatever that is. Okay, so I also asked, I said, ooh, I'm like, because this is Jeu de Vivre Tarot, which is French, and interesting that the Olympics started in Paris yesterday, which is so interesting that this deck wanted to come out. It's the only French deck I have, in terms of that. And then the dark mirror. So I was like, oh, is this the transition and this the forgiveness? Because I always look at this as, when you see, if you don't know this deck, you will in a minute. But it's so sweet and it's so adorable. I love it, but it has some good medicine because it's the tarot, right? Like the tarot doesn't fuck around. It doesn't bullshit. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's almost like it doesn't know how to. That's what it was created for, was to be very, very serious and very concise. The reason why things started to get kind of candy coated was like polite conversation, right? You want to be polite, you don't want to be, over the years, but we've gotten too polite with ourselves and with each other, and we've got to get really gruff. It's one thing to be kind and gentle with yourself, sure, but it's, oh, I'll do it later, 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 until it's like, well, when is later now? And when is, you know what I mean? I had a very, very intense come to Jesus moment with my partner last night, where I had like all these epiphanies and breakthroughs. So I myself am very curious to see if there's any medicine in here for me and my journey, because I am watching so many of our tribe members' relationships disintegrate. Some of them were, have been disintegrating, and some of them are like really quick and sudden, and people are like, holy shit, like I didn't know that was going to go down that way, or I didn't know that was going to happen. And it's like, yeah, because this is no joke. This is it. This is like one of the best years that we'll ever have on this planet in so many ways, if you see through the darkness and the bullshit. And that's what they're trying to get us to do. And the past, that was one of the things that came up yesterday. I was like, I'm having, the thing that I believe so many people are struggling with is the past. Because when we need to disintegrate these relationships, they need to be disintegrated because they are not there. It's an illusion. And if we hold tight to that illusion, then we can't do what we're meant to do now. And then we certainly can't flow to the future if we're going back to the past. And I feel like the dark mirror helps illuminate that shadow, and obviously, the tarot does that as well. So with that being said, I have no idea at this point what Spirit has put for how many readings there are. You know more than me. I always love this. You know more than me at this point. So I wish you so much love, joy, peace, and happiness in your mind, body, and soul. And once again, I thank you so much for all the beautiful, wonderful energy that has been continuing to come my way. And I'm excited about my new home that is coming in the future. And it's because of you that I'm getting there. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And keep living in that. The one thing that, my last thing I'm going to give you guys is that this came into my orbit a lot in the last, I don't know how long, but in recent days, it was like I saw it again, and I saw it as if I saw it for the first time. And it was this beautiful soul that spoke of how if you really want to have your reality to be a certain way, you have to live it. If that means you have to do, storyboards or, dream boards, whatever you want to call them, inspiration boards, whatever you need to do, then do it. It's like, if you need to change your clothes, like I went to the store, I was like, I told my partner, I'm like, I need like $100, man. Give me $100. I'm like, I'll go secondhand shopping. I don't care. I actually would prefer it. People break the clothes in. Sometimes you find brand new things. Either way, I love secondhand shopping. I got these really bitchin' overalls. Look at these cute little, they're so cute. I got these great bib overalls, I think for like $8 or something, and it's a really nice brand, and they're 100% cotton. So, it's like you never know like what you're gonna find. But anyway, I was like, give me $100. I literally got 18 pieces of new clothing, and I went through my stuff and I just got rid of shit. I purged. If they call me to, I did a video on it with my partner. I did this like a month ago. I had some shorts and then I did a full video. But anyway, if they pull me to, I'll put it on there, because I had some great breakthroughs on that as well. But it'll be on Lula's Life, and if they call me to, I'll put a link below for you to go watch it. But it was really cute, and I show everybody everything I show some things I got. I probably should do like I did that before, where I did a reveal, and people are like, oh my god, there's no way you got that all for that amount. I'm like, oh yeah. I was there for several hours, but you know what? I do it like once every year, 2 years. It just depends on like where I'm at. But just getting the new clothes, like, helped me to kind of like go into who I want to be. Another reason why I'm kind of not showing myself is that I'm also going through a transformation up here. Yeah, I'm playing with some ideas of like hair color and cuts and things like that. So I'm like, I need a full makeover. I feel like my outside doesn't match my inside, and it's very confusing. And the same with my partner. It's almost like I started writing this poem. I'll share a little bit with you guys, but I started writing this poem. I'm not sure if it's going to be a song, and I rarely do this, but I'm just going to I heard Kate Hudson's Glorious, and it just like, I was bawling my eyes out this morning, and it just started pouring out. It says, I see you, but I don't see you anymore. It's as if I walked through a door where I don't know you anymore. And I'm hanging in, but I don't think it's coming back again. Miss the days when we felt free, our little adventures, just you and me, thinking this is how love is supposed to be. Haven't finished it, don't know if I will, but it just, also when I looked down, it was 11:59 on the time and 56% on my phone. So 11, 11, and 59 in the middle. Interesting. So what does that mean to you? You know, does it mean anything to you? But it's also, if you take 59 down, it comes, the lowest denominator is 5, I believe, right? 59. Well, 9 and 5 is 14, yeah. So it's the number 5, and 5s are about change and transformation. Look at that. Angels, 11, 11, and with change and transformation in the middle. I got my message for me, but like for us is like Lightworkers, Starseeds, Angels, like whatever you align yourself with, witch, healer, all of the above, you know, ask yourself like, you know, what needs changing? Where does the transformation need to take place? Because hello, we just talked about transition and forgiveness. Transition is transformation, right? Because you're transitioning out of something and you're transforming into something else. So what is it that we need to transition out of so that we can forgive the energy, the person? You know, because my thing is like, I'm like, please stop talking about the past. Or like anytime we get in a disagreement where I'm really trying to explain something, they go to the past, and I'm like, if you literally don't stop it, I cannot talk to you anymore. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. That's why I stopped talking to my old family and friends, because it was the same conversations over and over, or the same disagreements, the same, you know, where I'm just like, I just felt fucking nuts. I felt crazy. I was like, I'm not this, I don't want to live in this like weird little, you know, circus that has been co-created, you know. I'm like, no. In one of my friendships, one of the last things I said to my friend, and I love them dearly, and they'd been with me since my childhood, but I was just like, I cannot be the version of me that you want me to be, and I don't want to keep. It was getting to the point where they'd be like, remember that time, blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, we'd laugh because it was hilarious, whatever. But a lot of the stories too was like, we were drunk assholes, or we were acting like idiots, you know. We were young, we were kids. I'm like, dude, we're fucking grown, man. We're grown. We're in our 40s. Like, I was like, why are you bringing up shit from like when we were 23, 25, you know, 15, 17? It's one thing to have a memory because you can't help it. It's in your face, right? But it's like, I just felt constantly triggered, and I was grateful for the medicine. But then after a while, I was like, I realized I had just outgrown people, and it wasn't that there was anything wrong with them or, you know, whatever. I'm like, I don't want to live in the past. I want to keep evolving. And part of my purpose on this planet is to help Earth and Earthlings and all living beings to evolve, you know, into this, you know, what, I mean, this is the biggest transition as far as I can tell. This is the biggest transformation and transition that Earth has ever seen. Even though we've had all these lifetimes, and the Lemurians, the Atlanteans, you can go the Romans and the Christians. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you can go through every bit of it. The witches, the giants, you know what I mean? The werewolves, the fairies, inner earth. There's so much happening on this planet that it wouldn't surprise me if it did blow up. You know, I mean, in some ways. But it's also really beautiful and really special. And we've barely scratched the surface of what we are and what we're here to do. Especially when you look at it like this, like, the planet is like this big, right? Like, I mean, like the planet's like this big, and then we're like these teeny tiny specks like on the top of it. And then we're told that the only thing in between is like fire and brimstone. Or do you remember, like, I remember when I was a kid growing up in the 70s, and they said if you dug, you know, far enough, you'd get to China. And I'd be like, what? Like, I'd be like, that's absurd. That sounds absurd to me. That seems absurd, you know. But you know what I mean? It's like, so there's just like all these, I mean, I said to my partner yesterday, I'm like, do you believe in this? I'm like, what do you believe? Like, who are you? And I feel like this is what Spirit is asking us. Like, who are you? Like Zoolander, who am I? Right? Like, who are you? What do you stand for? When you're standing for what you believe in this home, with these people, wherever you are, what ground are you standing? Do you step aside so that you know, don't deal with like somebody's shadow, or you don't want to get in an argument, you don't want to upset anybody, you don't want to spark anything? You know, I started to realize certain behaviors and patterns that I was doing to make my partner happy, to keep the beautiful flow in our relationship was good, as long as I was giving, and he was taking. He's giving, and in a lot of ways, like we have a roof over our head and food and all that. You know, my work at this point hasn't been able to support us. You know, he's supporting us, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm like, but I give too much to that. And I was like, this is how I'm meant to make my living. This is how I'm meant to be supported, you know, by those who can, by those who are ready to, by those who are, you know, sharing. You know, there's so many things. You know, look at how far we've grown. I mean, this is all grassroots. I don't do any advertising. I don't do, everything is by all the work I do, from the shorts I put out to just everything. I'm throwing, you know, my thing, bringing, you know what I mean? I'm casting the net wide. That's my job. My job is to bring the medicine and bring people back to the medicine. That is my job. So it will continue to do that. But when I see the numbers rise the way that they have been lately, it's so inspiring, and I'm so excited because, you know, once I hit a certain threshold and so many views, I will be able to, you know, have advertising. But they don't even allow, I mean, I could pay for advertising, but I'm saying, like, I can't even get paid advertisers to me until I hit a certain point, which I think is just a grotesque way from YouTube and all these other like companies who are, I mean, I'm grateful for this format and this platform, don't get me wrong, but I also pay, like I said, I pay for no commercials, but I'm also paying into this, right? So but there's something to be said about what is happening all over the planet, and you know how it's like they can change the rules and they can make the rules any way they want. If you even knew, I don't even know anymore, I haven't looked in a while, but you have to have a minimum of 1,000 subscribers. Then you have to have, like, I think 1,000,000, or there, it's like an obnoxious amount of like hours that you have to have watched. And I just think, I look at my channel, I'm like, there's no way I only have this many views, but that's because they only take it from the last year. So even though I had Lula's Labyrinth, even before this, like if I put all of, and your videos have to be public. So if I put a video public and it gets 5,000 views, if I put it in private or unlisted because I don't want it on the channel anymore, because it doesn't resonate, it's more like Lula's Life, right? Like, so a lot of things, they won't let me transfer it over to Lula's Life. It's like they don't allow that. They don't, it's like I'm growing and growing and growing, but they kept changing the rules, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, there was a time where you had to have 500 subscribers, and I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, but it's also challenged me to hang in there, you know, because everything goes through transition and forgiveness. And I'm like, and I forgive it, because I know that if I'm not meant to get to where I am until I'm meant to get there in divine timing. And no matter how much I force it, and no matter how much I push it, it's going to get there when it's meant to get there. So with that being said, it's like, I know eventually it will. I feel it, you know. But it's ironic that I look at Lula's Life, and I've only really been playing with Lula's Life for maybe about a year and a half, like fully, not even, maybe a little over 15 months. And I have, I think I have 100,000 more views on that channel than I do on this one, and I've had this one the longest. So it's just so funny, and it's like I changed the name. So yeah, you know, we all have our things and our crosses to bear. We all have our moments where we're just like, like, I'm working so fucking hard, and they keep changing the fucking needle on the record, right? Like, they keep changing the finish line, and it feels unfair, but it's not. It's not unfair. It's just, it's teaching us, it's lessons. And I'm learning that these overalls are not, say goodbye, you'll never see these in this reading again, because I don't want to do this. You know what, it does have like a higher setting, so I'm going to do that. But anyway, so I do appreciate when you guys help out and when you donate and do all that. By the way, I changed, I put my new information and everything and updated my Amazon. So if you want to buy some cards, I am down for that. I haven't gone through in a minute, but if they have me go through, I will. Also, there is a deck that I really want or the tribe we're meant to get. So if you do want to donate to the tribe, let me know. Send me an email or message me or whatever on here, and I'll give you the name of it because I don't remember it offhand. But I can give you the link to it because Spirit really, I'm getting this vibe for us to get it. It's a goddess deck, and it's kind of a cool older one. And the way I found it was so like, I followed breadcrumbs I didn't even know I was following. You know what I mean? But that one, I think it's kind of pricey. It's normally like 30 something, but it's on sale right now on Amazon, I think for like $27. Anyway, and you can get free shipping if you need anything else from Amazon kind of thing. So yeah. So there's that. And yeah, so if you want to do that, and yeah, the prayers, all that good stuff. And of course, cash is always wonderful because it does help me to, pay my bills and move forward. And at this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure. I really don't. Like there are some things that I'm seeing and some things that I don't. I started to realize that Spirit has really been putting these blocks in front of me, like these really hardcore blocks in front of me so that I cannot see certain things anymore, so that I cannot see too much into the future because I am what I am. But I will say that I just see a lot of really cool things happening. So it may look really gross and ugly on the outside, but there's also some really beautiful and wonderful things happening on the inside. So keep the high vibration as much as you can. Cry your fucking eyes out when you can. You know, if you need to stay in a dark place for 2 hours, 6 hours, even a full day, you do what you got to do. But then pull yourself out of it. You're the only one that can pull yourself out of it. You are the only one that can pull yourself out of it. Okay, and take as much alone time as possible. This is one that has been coming up over and over and over. When I looked down, it was 31, 31. Yes, 3 and 1 is 4, 4, 4, finding the balance. But also 31 is the number of the goddess, and also the 31st. So right now in real time, it's the 27th, and I've been getting a lot of energy for July 31st and August 31st. So I'll just leave that there. I've got more of like the fire signs for August the 31st, but since July 31st is in Leo season there, I don't know. But anyway, so I feel like there's something major going to happen like on those days, or maybe there's something in there for you in each reading. But I've spoke way longer than I anticipated, and so I am going to now zip it, and I will see you over at your reading. Thank you so much for everything. I love you so much. Spirit loves you, and always please take care of yourself and each other. It's self-care summer. Or self-care winter, but self-care summer. I love the how that flows together. But winter, if you're a southern hemisphere family, which we do have here, I love you. I'll see you over at reading. Drink lots of water before you get to the reading, and make sure you stay hydrated. Okay, I love you. Bye. Oh, I'll see you over there. Okay, reading 1. Your angel number is 3245. It's your start time. So however that resonates for you, because it has a semicolon, I feel like you have 32 and then you have, 45, so it could be 5, it could be 9. Interesting that we just, if you didn't watch the first part of this, the energy update and messages for the collective, you might want to check that out, because at the end of that we spoke about Spirit called me to the time, and it was 11:59 and my phone was at 56%, and I was like, oh, 56 is 11, ha ha. But it's interesting if that resonates for you. I don't know. I'm like, I know 45 and 59 are not the same, but it's like almost like I'm seeing it as the same. So maybe it's the number 9. I don't know. It might just mean something to you. I don't know. But anyway, so check that out. But I'm going right for this one because that's what I was called to. Like right when I saw, I was like, what is going on there? I was like, the dark mirror. Okay, so Spirit, we are asking, what do we need to transition out of? Reading 1. What do we need to transition out of, and what do we need to forgive? So we've got 2 decks here. We've got the Dark Mirror deck, and then we have a tarot deck in here, the Juge de Vivre. Juge de Vivre. I think that's how you say it in French. My French is not my strongest language. But anyway, also in real time, because the Olympics started yesterday, a shout out to our warriors. It is not easy, man. It is not easy to make it to the Olympics, man. That is some commitment. So, yes. Also, though, I will say I had a weird fucking moment last night. Can I just tell you guys this? I know that this is your reading. I don't mean to hijack it, but I have to tell you, I had the weirdest moment last night when all these things started flooding in, because in real time I'm in the United States in the Pacific Northwest, so they're in France time, right? They're in Paris, so it's several hours. I think it's 8 or 9 hours from me. So long story short, all the pictures and video were flooding in from the event, and I could not help but feel a Hunger Games moment. It was really weird. It was really weird. Just like as much as I love and appreciate and respect Lady Gaga and how much work she put into that, like I didn't watch the whole thing, but like but it's just, I don't know, there was something about it. That, and then like Beyonce and like this like bedazzled USA bathing suit with the hat and everything. It was just fucking weird. Like I felt like we just like, and then like they're playing these games. I don't know. It just was weird. I was like, is the Hunger Games like some weird ass like version? You know what I mean? So maybe that means something to you. Also, the Hunger Games series is free on YouTube this month in July. So check it out. I don't know when you're going to watch this. Here's your card. It just was so powerful. I'm sorry, I had to share that with you. It must mean something to somebody. Maybe you saw the same thing, or you're like, dude, I was thinking the same fucking thing. But it's just interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, that the Olympics, like if they, that there is some type of Hunger Game thing, you find out all these, horror stories about like what people had to go through to be drugged or like just whatever for their country to, be representation of their country in the games. I mean, there's just a lot of weird shit. So that, I don't know why, but I feel like this just keeps coming up. So this is the Gilded Regret number 5. Gilded Regret. That is pretty intense. I'm going straight for the book. Now, I'm gonna preface this by telling you, speaking of foreign language, this person's natural language is Spanish. So I believe it's Spanish. Yeah, I'm almost 100%. I think they're from Spain. But you know how sometimes Spanish and like the Romance languages, Italian and Spanish, can be very similar. So I was like, I'm almost positive they're Spanish. But anyway, so this book can be very confusing at times because it's translated into English, and because I've studied other languages, sometimes a word just doesn't translate in another language, but they do the best they can, and I kind of feel like that's what's going on with this. So bear with me and spirit as we go through this. So interesting that right now we're in the 3rd quarter moon, the last quarter moon, which is the energy is transition and forgiveness, because the next is the 7th, it's the 7th moon phase, but the next one is the 8th moon phase, which is the waning crescent, and it's the rest and release, right? Because the 7 is like you're almost at the end of the moon cycle, you're 3 weeks in, right? Like so this Cancer moon was very fucking intense. Like I've been crying. I didn't cry that much, and then all of a sudden in the last like 24 hours, it's like I've been trying to cry. I've been watching stuff to make myself cry, and then all of a sudden just like, man, the fucking floodgates came open last night, and this morning I was bawling my eyes out. So there is something very heavy right now in the energy universally of letting go. And the fact that you have a card that has regret in it is very intense. So in this oracle deck, they have different stages, like the stages of death. So in this stage, you are in the bargaining stage, which is when you're in the bargaining stage, you're trying to make sense of it, make light of it. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say, for instance, because it's a death, like someone really died, right? It's like you go through the stages, like you're in denial. You're like, no way, they didn't die. They didn't die. No. And then you're like, oh God, please, or if someone's sick, right? I just got this analogy, which is even better. They're saying like, God, if you, bargaining, right? God, if you do this, spirit, if you do that, I promise I will never do this again. I promise I will never, blah, blah, blah. And then you're granted your wish, the person gets better, and after time you go back to it because you're like, oh, well, whatever. But, right? But spirit's like, hey, but you said you were going to do this or that. Not that they hold us accountable, but they're just saying like, right? That's what everything is right now, is personal accountability. So if you're in an energy or a relationship with somebody who has no personal accountability, then it's like, it's like you're trying to bargain, It's like you're trying to see all the good sides of them, or the good sides of the relationship, with this is, whether this is love relationship, this is family, friends, work, whatever. It's like you're trying to see all the good stuff, but you don't want to see the bad stuff. It's like you do the pros and the cons list, because you're like, it's like, here. This is, these messages, I wasn't sure when they were gonna come out, but I knew right away that this one was for you. I trust that my gut reaction is the right. Wait, I can't read backwards. I trust that my gut reaction is the truth underneath the surface of my fears. So it's like Spirit saying, but you know, and look, see, you're looking away. The truth is over here, but you're over here in bargaining stage. Going back to a time, if you didn't watch the group reading, I highly suggest you go and watch it, because one of the things they had me share a story of, a friend of mine that just kept going back to the same stories over and over and over. And I was like, I can't be in this, in this past life with you, right? Even this, like, look at how youthful they are. It's almost like for some of you, it could even be that you're looking, maybe it is, like maybe it's somebody you've been with since your childhood. Like maybe it's a best friend, maybe it's a partner, maybe it was a high school sweetheart. Maybe it's a job that you started when you were really young and you've been there for 20 years, but you're like, I'm not this person anymore, but the money's really good. And you're like, oh, I have all this security. And you're like, oh man, if I have to start over, I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s, I can't start over. And they're like, yes, you can start over. What is your gut telling you? Whatever you're afraid of is what you need to do. Literally, whatever you're afraid of is what you need to do. And whether it's temporary or it's permanent, it doesn't matter right now. So it's interesting, like I said, we're in the third quarter moon, which is transition and forgiveness, but then the waning crescent is next, and it's rest and restore. So this is a waning crescent, the moon phase. And here is like what this energy, like this is what your higher self is literally speaking back to you. I feel like living in the past. Please give me 5 more minutes to linger. Right? It's like, I was watching some movie recently, and both of the people knew that this person was going to die. They weren't coming out, but they couldn't bear the thought of never seeing them again. So they just said, I'll see you later. Oh, it's starting to get me emotional, right? They're like, I'll see you later. I feel it. Let it go. I feel you. Yeah, let it linger. Or let me just look at you for 5 more minutes. Because I'm going to fucking miss you, man. I'm going to miss you. But sometimes the bargaining, I feel like this 31 keeps coming up, so I feel like either July 31st or August 31st, or maybe you'll do it in stages, but I feel like you're just going to finally get so fed up with like something they're going to do or say, and you're not even going to say anything. I saw something recently that said those who are really going to leave quietly. When they're screaming for you is when they're telling you that they're going to go. But when they get quiet and they leave is when you know they're not coming back. And sometimes people walk with us for a lifetime, and sometimes for 5 minutes, And obviously, I feel your pain right now. I feel your pain. My heart is like broken in a million pieces. It's also, can I just say, Spirit said it's also habit. Like for some of you, I feel like you're turning around looking at your office, like your cubicle, or you're like, whatever. Like there's something, definitely some of you, this is your job. And I'm also feeling it's because you're the type of person that really needs to be in your comfort zone. And Spirit's like, yeah, but your comfort zone isn't serving you. Your comfort zone is destroying you. And your relationship with this person, place, thing, job, whatever, is destroying you. And if you want to be what you want to be, then you have to be it. Then you have to live it. You have to live it. I have given up more than you can ever possibly know. And I will tell you, it is 4421. It is not easy. Oh, that's also the number 11, you guys. Those are the angels. They're like, call on your angels when you're sad, when you're feeling depressed, when you're like, I can't do this by myself. They're like, yes, you can. I forged my path for quite some time, for a long time. And then when I finally got to a point where I was like, I don't believe I can go through this next part by myself. I need help. I need someone. I can't. Like that, when I knew I had to let go of, like, when I knew what I had to do is when I like called out for my next life. And then that next new moon, I wrote down everything that I wanted for my life, but I wrote it down like I already had it. And in 4 days, in that new moon, it came. Or I should say, I did the new moon, and 4 days later, everything like came together. It was really wild, and I knew that I was on the path that I was meant to be. And then slowly I just had to start like releasing again, and I was like, oh my gosh, haven't I released enough people, enough places, enough things? Like, I've moved how many times and lived in how many states? And I was like, fuck. But I knew the truth was there. The truth was there. And then I had this memory of when I was like 20 years before, when I had said, someday I'm going to just disappear and you guys won't know where I am or what I'm doing, or like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I remember people being like, ha, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. And now here I am. And I'm like, no, I knew it. I've always known. If you're a starseed and a lightworker, you know, maybe you're both, you know, we came here to have a human life and a human experience, but we didn't come here to be, you know, someone's battering ram. We didn't come here to just solely hold up one person or one company, or, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for your job, for some of you, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do after this. And they're like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. What lights you up? What place lights you up? What people light you up? What energy lights you up? You know, look at this. They're like in a very like kind of like almost feels like winter energy, right? Before I read any more of the card. So it's like, I feel like you're in this like very cold energy where you can't be the vibrant butterfly that you need to be. And I feel like there's so much love inside of you. There's so much like butterflies just want to just like come out your mouth. You know what I mean? Like just when you speak, because there's so much light and love and happiness and joy. And you have I have chills all over my body. You have so much to give. You have so much to give, reading one. You have so much to give. And you're feeling drained and tired and cold. I mean, look at that. They're looking side-eyed. They're like fucking bleeding out of their eyes. Also, I'm feeling like for some of you, like I feel like there's someone in your orbit that says or does such horrible, hateful things that maybe it's a boss, maybe it's, you know, a significant other, but I just feel like that side-eye where you're like, wow. And even though you know, like you're not taking it personally because you know it has nothing to do with you, you still are like, what the fuck? And maybe this old version of them, you know, is gone. And maybe it's gone forever, or like maybe it was, I don't know. Like I kind of feel like whoever this person is, it definitely feels like a divine masculine, but it doesn't have to be a man. You know, women could be really, really heavy masculine as well. But I just feel this like your childhood was like, it like brings you back to your childhood. It almost as if it's like you just keep peeling the scab off. Not to be gross, it's such a gross visual, but you know what I mean? It's like instead of just letting the wound heal, you're staying in this relationship with these people, this place, this thing, this person. Like it's because it's so different for all of you guys. I'm seeing so, it's like I'm watching a bunch of different, it's like there's like little boxes and I can see little boxes made of ticky-tack. My weeds people, you know what I'm talking about. The show Weeds. Love it. If you want something to binge watch Weeds. It's so fucked up. It's so good. And there's so many good lessons in there too. You know, there's a lot happening. And I feel like there's this divine masculine that's just really, you know, making you cry, making you sad. You know, like I just feel such a heavy weight around them. And I definitely feel a boss energy. So it's almost as if, and if you're in a relationship, it's like they're the boss. Like they call the shots. They decide, like, you know, the energy, and spirit's like, but what if you flip the fucking script? Okay, so the next visual seed is, An elven queen with heavy eyes. Her dress is blue as the clearest water. Her crown of thorns and golden clawed flowers holds a blue orb in her hand. Like, I mean, how do you see yourself in this card, you know? And also interesting that, you know, this did feel definitely feminine, but I feel like for you, like, I feel like this is who, whatever it is, their divine masculine is crushing your divine feminine. And that's why you feel like you can't get above water, which is ironic because it's like, that's the whole point. Like, this card is like, they even speak of, you know, as blue as the clear water, you know, and I almost feel like they're saying, like, the truth is as clear as the water. Like, you know it, you see it, you can see the pebbles through the water. It's not murky. You see it for what it is. So the sentence is, memories are like floating underwater, safe, warm, but also murky. Yet they hold the scent of death, right? Because it's old, it's dead, it's over. Even right now, right? We're 50 minutes into this. When I started this 50 minutes ago, I was a different person. It's already over. It's already the past. So going into the very old, dark past, you know, also they said, remember that we all grow up or we don't. And there are a lot of wounded children out there right now in divine masculine or divine feminine encapsulated. It doesn't matter. There's just so much inner child trauma. Last night I had a breakthrough also with my partner where I was like seeing, I'm like, I can really see their child, or I can see their teenager, and I'm feeling like the divine masculine is getting the shit kicked out of them. And they're doing their best, but they're, you know, I was like, I get it, but like, it's, and I'm going to share my own personal story right now. What I'm struggling with is that even though I'm not taking their stuff personally at all, I'm not, it's the energy, because they're so up and down, and I can't, I'm like, I have to put so much effort into changing the energy of my house when they're present. And that is what's really difficult. And I feel like they're on their path and I'm on my path, and I don't know how to like communicate with them because they're in a completely different place than I am. And it's okay. Like, they're awesome. They're healing their divine masculine. They're actually stepping into their spirit work, healing their divine masculine. And it's so powerful to watch. But at the same time, everything with me, it's like it doesn't exist. It's like he's not even like in the feminine, and I can't be around it. It's not because he's, you know, he's not like being mean or anything. It's nothing like that. It's just they're like just tired. It's kind of exhaustive because they're working a lot, but they're also doing a lot of spirit work, and you know what I mean? And they're doing their own thing. And so by the time they get to me, there's like nothing left. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like until you can bring something to the table for both of us, I'm like, it's better for us to just be on our own for a while. I don't know if it's temporary. I don't know if it's permanent, but I'm like, I had to set boundaries with myself, especially because I had a full week without them, no contact, nothing. And dude, by the third day, it was like, I got my chi back. I was feeling so good. By the fifth, sixth day, I was like, I wanted to see them, but at the same time, I didn't want them to come back because I was like outside, like playing with nature. I mean, I was having such a moment, like with the deer. I mean, I was like sitting down with these two massive bucks, like right at the full buck moon, like 20 feet from them, like just, and having like bees and like, you know, birds and just, it was crazy. It was crazy. I felt like fucking Snow White, because my energy was so happy and so elated. And I realized in that moment that the deer and myself and Gaia, the birds, like we were sinking in to the earth, to the third dimensional energy, and we were like so connected to the higher vibrations of the universe and beyond the third dimension. And I felt like we were anchoring that light. And so I was like, I'm like, I don't have the energy to be around them, you know. And I was like, maybe we do need to just live separate and then like date, or like just see each other and like see how we feel when we see each other, and see, you know, because I feel like a lot of us are going through a massive transformation, bigger than any transformation we've ever been through in our lifetimes. And so it's hard to describe it. It's hard to discuss it with anybody. I mean, I told him through tears last night, I'm like, I have never felt more alone in my life than I feel right now. But I'm not. Like, I know the angels are there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so divinely connected. But in terms of like the human side, because my wick is so short and I just don't have the bandwidth for excuses or people saying, I'm like, no, because it's all fucking choice. We all have a choice. So it's like you can bargain all you want. And I feel like for some of you, you're used to being your natural manipulators, and not that you're intentionally doing it, but your natural witches, your natural, your light workers, your healers, you can just say or do something or even think something and make it happen. And so they're like, so don't you think if you've watched and done that, but like you can't do this anymore. It's not working because you've outgrown that experience. And now it's time for you to seek a solo venture. So the going dark is, the cage of our memories is the most gilded. Lingering to the past, savoring crumbs and flashes, hints and ifs, all the quote-unquote buts. There are sword. The howevers are our shield. The quote-unquote however. We follow the river against the currents to a sea of maybes. We cannot say life is here and now. We just say life was here. So that even when the future builds, day by day, we still look backward to memories and possibilities, options we've missed, things that we've lost, changes we've fled. It is like staying in the twilight of consciousness, in the blessed state of those 5 minutes to linger, between the time the alarm rings and when you actually have to wake up. Like little kids, between the time mom calls, it says mom in here, love it. Like kids, between the time mom calls and the time we need to wake up and run. But those 5 minutes are taking up too much of your time. They're the drain of our energies or our opportunities of our future. The ifs are now gone. Whatever has been already, isn't it? Oof. Oh, I don't know if you can get let me see if I can get a good thing there so you can get a screenshot. Oh, no, I don't want to set myself on fire there. Okay. Can you get a good screenshot? Try that. Interesting that the next card is, or the next message is, alone in the world. But you're not alone in the world. And that stage is acceptance. And it's the 3rd quarter moon, which is fucking interesting because that's what we're in. You're not alone in the world. Right? It's a human thing to think you're alone. I promise you, once you pick up the magic, I literally said to him yesterday, I was like in tears. I'm like, I love you so much. I'm like, but I really, really just want to be alone. I'm like, I need to be alone. It's like, and I could see the confusion, and I can see the sadness, and I could see what just happened? I thought we were good like 5 minutes before we were eating dinner and having a good time. And it's like one little thing just like sparked into this other thing that sparked into another thing. But I was like, because I'm trying to explain to you, and I've been trying to explain to you for years who and what I am, and you just only hear what you want to hear. You're only accepting what you want to hear instead of accepting what I truly am and what my purpose is on this planet. I was like, do you even believe in me? Do you even believe in the work that I do? And he's like, yes, of course I do. And I was like, you wouldn't know it though. And like, you literally, and it wasn't like I was fishing. It was more like just the oblivion of having no like conscious like thoughts about like my fucking existence and my purpose here and like why I'm doing these things and why, and looking at it through a 3rd dimensional scope, and I've tried to do this. I've tried to do that. I've tried to do these things. I've tried and tried and tried and tried. I've tried different ways. I've tried this way, that way. I've come from this angle, that angle. And I'll tell you what, 9 years, I'm like, I can't try. I mean, I could, but I'm like, I am losing me. And whether you have been with this person, because I feel like whoever this is, whether it's family, lover, partner, marriage, work, whatever, I feel like this is a relationship that, at least the one that is standing out the most in this reading for you, I feel like it's been a while. It doesn't feel like you just met them. It doesn't feel like you've dated even like a year. And if it has, it could be that they're someone that's very significant from your past. So it's like you're like, it's been a year, but it's like we've known each other lifetimes. It's probably true. But that's another thing too, is a lot of people right now got so fixated in the past lives. And the past lives are just there as a learning tool. They're not there for us to live in. It's not like, oh, we were Vikings and a mermaid in our past life, and we had this this love affair, blah blah blah, and they drown at sea, or you know what I mean? Like, ooh, by the way, this just flipped over to an hour. I felt like it went to 1, and I feel like it needs to be a new beginning. Exactly, it needs to be a new beginning, because it's like, yeah, but did you ever stop to think that maybe in that past life when you were a mermaid and they were a Viking, did you ever stop to think that and you're like, oh, but we drowned at sea and blah blah blah, did you ever think that maybe you had a relationship before that together, and then that's how you decided to like end it, was like buried at sea in the water? There's a reason why this water analogy is coming up. Vikings are on water, mermaids water. There's something here. You may even be a water sign. You may be dealing with a water sign, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Or it could be heavy in your chart. You may not necessarily be one of those, but you have a lot of heavy water in your chart, or they do. But either way, I'm just feeling like it's like this lifetime, you may have called them in inadvertently, or you may have crossed paths because you were meant to just be friends in this lifetime, and you're like trying to make it something else. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't tell you because there's so many stories here. There's so many variables. But I will tell you that you're on the right track in terms of like listening to your gut. Now it's about getting quiet and going silent so that you can hear what Spirit has to say. So, and it's time for you to look at the truth. We're going to dive in and see, do we have any clarifiers? Because I do feel like we're kind of coming to an end, and I just want to see if there's any clarifiers. This one also wanted to come up. I show up for myself in the world. One of our dear tribe members sent me these cards, and they're so amazing. They're called Miracles Now? Yeah, Miracles Now. I love it. She actually bought the Oracle deck, and then like she like sends them. Like when she gifts people things, like she'll send them just individual cards. I think over now she sent me like 5 or 7, but anyway, but I love them because I've always used them. So this is what they're saying. You have to show up for yourself. And for a lot of you, you're hiding. Spirit's like, you're hiding. You're hiding. Like, I almost feel like I want to turn this so you can't see it. Because if I turn this, it'll all go down, right? Like if I turn this, all like, well, maybe they won't. But I feel like Spirit's saying they won't. Because no matter where you go, there you are. Right? You want to hide in the background. But Spirit's like, you can't do that. Can't do that. We'll put it on the red because we're in Leo season right now, and at the end of the watery Cancer moon, so there's a nice little marriage there. But you have to ask yourself, why is someone else's life more important than yours? Or like, I've stayed at jobs longer because they're like, oh, you're so good at this, like you're the only one that can do this. I'm like, I'm not the only one that can do this. I'm like, I may have made you a lot of money and I may be very good at what I do. I'm like, but it doesn't mean that you aren't going to find someone that is going to bring the same, level that you need. So it's the same. It's like, I almost feel like you're not going to find someone like this person, or like I said, you're convinced, or I just feel like it's either you're manipulating you or they're manipulating you. Okay, so this just came out and it's almost was like it was sideways. So I always like to read the upright and the upside down, but as you can see, it's the Hanged Man. Oh, the Hanged Man has actually been coming out a lot recently. That's kind of interesting. Like for other things like that I've been looking at too, like other readings that I've seen for myself, the Hanged Man. So obviously those of us who understand tarot, we understand what the Hanged Man means, but I love I only have, I think, 4, maybe 5 tarot decks out of my 30 plus decks. And Spirit strategically brings them to me, and I'll tell you what, it's because all of them, the writers are amazing. These are true tarot people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I'm not a tarot person. I'm just saying, like, I read tarot, but I always see way beyond, just the meaning. I remember one time I was learning with someone, alongside someone, and they were much more advanced in the tarot than I was. And I was telling them the message that I saw. They're like, that's not, they're like, you can do what you want, but you're a channeler. You can't just like take the tarot deck and just decide that you want it to be that. And I'm like, okay. Like, I was kind of confused because I was like, I don't think that's true. I think that it's imagery just like anything else. Yes, it has a meaning behind it, but it's also, there's so much meaning. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any imagery at all, and we would just go by the Hanged Man. You know what I mean? You'd get a card that literally said the Hanged Man, and that's it, right? But every Hanged Man card I've ever seen has always had like some extra, like, little, fun little things to look at. Also, I like to write their names on there because I think it's cute when I'm doing readings for people. But I'm definitely going to read this book. Okay, so, and they also have keywords. So I'm going to read the upright, and then I'm going to read the reverse, because I feel like when it's sideways, that means that for some of you it's the upright, and some of you it's the reverse, and some of you it's both. I think we always get a little bit from both anyway. So the keywords in the upright position are contemplation, patience, endurance, surrender, and devotion. In a period of waiting, ponder surrenders to a calm disposition of contemplation while hanging by his tail from a tree branch. The stars he's balancing are symbols of his spiritual development and higher wisdom. He sees the world from a new angle and grows more accepting of simply what is. Gifted with patience, Ponder holds a fresh perspective, moving beyond his once limited consciousness. Also, I must show you, it's on page 11. I always say, I can't make it up. And why would I? Why would I want to? It's always better than anything I could dream up. Okay, so the reverse is loss of perspective, arrogance, wasted efforts. Stop and change the tempo. And I'm going to put it in reverse so that you can kind of see it. Because when you look at it reversed, it almost looks like they're balancing, they're balancing on one leg or one foot or one tail. I can't really see, my eyes can't really see that, but you know what I mean? It's almost like, it also kind of looks like a dance position. I feel like some of you may be dancers, ballerinas, or yoga teachers, or something with movement, aerialists, something like that, acrobats. That just came through really strongly. That's interesting. So stop and change the tempo. Relax and reflect as you sort thoughts and ideas, which in turn will help you find a new way to deal with a situation. Let go of old patterns that get you nowhere. Same. Last night, I found us in a same pattern of an argument that we've been having for so many years. I literally don't know. And I just fucking died. I just started crying, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this. Especially when they went for this thing that they do, this past thing. And I was like, do you see? And the only fucking awesome part that I can say about that was when they were getting in a huff and getting irritated, they were getting ready to leave. I'm getting really personal, but I think it's serious that we get personal about this and talk about what's hurting us and talk about the good stuff too. As they were leaving, I just pleaded in a way that was I just came out so naturally, and they looked in my eyes, and then I just saw him sit down, and he was like, I know, you're right, I'm sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, that's what I need though. It's I'm like, I can hang in there, right? I can hang in there if I know with every fiber of my being that it's going to get better. But if I know with every fiber of my being that it's not right now, then it's like speaking different languages and trying to understand the other person. You can understand a little bit of what they're saying, right? Because you can be like, I'm trying, it's like your languages, but you can just, the other day I was trying to communicate with this man, and I could tell he wasn't, from this country, and he there was something special about him. And so I asked him if he spoke, I said, hello. And And as I went towards him, he just was like, I don't speak English. And I just bowed and said, that's okay. I'm like, thank you. And I just waved, and he bowed, and he waved with a big smile. And that was enough, you know? But I went on my way. I didn't stand there trying to have a conversation with him and tell him, you know what I mean? Like, I just went on my way. So I feel like right now, you know, it could be like, it's just temporary. And maybe for some of you, it's temporary. And maybe for some of you, it's permanent. And I feel like only you will know, because each one of you, it's your each individual situation. So it's like only each of you will know like what it is, right? By the way, I'm like, don't look at my feet. I just realized when I sat down, I clean my feet every night when I go to bed, but I love to play outside. I'm outside barefoot all the time. So I'm like, I try to like cover up my feet when I'm doing these readings, because I'm just like, you know, I feel like a hobbit, which is totally fine. And I know I completely just changed the conversation, but maybe because some of you were going somewhere heavy and they wanted to, but right, like, it's like, it's not who I am. It's not who I am, but it's part of me. I love being dirty. I love walking around barefoot. I'm on a beautiful 5-acre farm, and there's beautiful animals. I'm like, I love to just play outside and be myself. I'm not worried about whether there's going to get dirt underneath my toenails. You know, I'm just having a good fucking time. So, you know, if you're in a place where you're walking on eggshells, or you have to be careful and be perfect, you know, because you're like, oh no, look away, I'm hideous, right? You know, like if you have that kind of energy where you cannot be 100% yourself, Spirit is like, you are the only one that lives in that truth. And the truth really will set you free. And in this place and time, it's time for you to transition out of the bargaining stage. Forgive the past. Forgive what happened. Start brand new. But start from truth. Because maybe if you can start from truth, you may get a completely different result. Maybe you're trying to get a result from a past life, right? Like a past life with this relationship, whomever it is, but it's not going to come back. I had an eye-opening moment with my familiar this last, you know, molting. She's a Maine Coon, you know, those of you who know Baba. Like, I mean, I've known Baba since she was really little. Between 1 and 3 years old. I think she was 1 when I got her. So that means she's 13 and a half. And she's starting to like show signs. And I ran a rescue when I was in my 20s. And it was a small little rescue out of my house that I could do. And, you know, I rescued a lot of animals that were at the last stage of their death. So I know what that looks like. And it's hard. I have moments where I'm like, no, Baba, no, you know. And then I have moments where I'm like, you know, if you want to go, go. Like, you've done so much. Like, you've helped me. She's been with me since the beginning of my transition of going back to who I was, you know, and she's held a lot and moved with me. And you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I want you to live another 10 years, but if you don't want to, I'm like, you fucking go when you want to go. I'm like, and come back to me, another animal or another familiar will come. I know I'll have one. I know a dog's in my future. You know, like, I know she doesn't like dogs, but I know, like, that's something that I will have. But in this time, you know, so it could even be that you have an animal that's going through a transition. You know, like, I have to forgive her that, like, just, I'm constantly cleaning up after her lately. Like, it's just, like, nonstop. And that's why I told my husband, I'm like, you have to go. I'm like, I can't fucking take care of myself, take care of her, and take care of you. I'm like, you need to take care of yourself. I need to take care of myself. You know, like right now, it's really just self-care. I've been calling it self-care summer for a reason. You know, even if you're in our Southern Hemisphere family, you know, just think of the self-care summer energy, whether you're in winter energy. But it's time now, you know, there's no more, oh, look at the Chariot is sticking out at the bottom. You know what the Chariot's all about, right? Like, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go. And look at how they're going separate ways, and she's going through the middle. And interesting how the Hanged Man, it could be too, you know, the Hanged Man is also a representation of like hanging around somewhere longer than you needed to be, or you've been hanging around, so like the breakthrough's coming. There's a lot of ways you can look at this card. So, you know, I feel like for you guys, the fact that the Chariot was like kind of sticking out like that, I take that as a huge sign. And look at the Chariot's independent. I mean, yeah, you know, she's got her, what are their names? So she's Madam chariot, chariot, how do you say that in French? And then they're fire and ice. Holy shit, you guys. Get it? Fire and ice. Also, look at what only wanted to come in. Just a selenite and a black tourmaline, like, you know, shadow and light. And I mean, and I was just talking about the fire and water with this, and then fire and ice. I mean, it could even be that you're a fire sign and you're dealing with a water sign, you know, and vice versa. You're the water sign dealing with the fire sign. And in both cases, that's really hard, you guys, because water puts out fire, and fire cannot, like, grow. Like, you cannot strike a match on the ocean, right? You can't be in the ocean and strike a match. It's not going to happen. I don't even know if a Bic would light underwater. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe it would for a second. Maybe it would. I don't know. Maybe it would. Please tell me in the comments below. But you get the analogy, right? And it's almost like you're going that way, they're going that way. And that's what I said to them yesterday. I was like, I would almost rather just, like, be friends. And, like, you go that way, I go this way. And then, like, we, you know, whatever. And, you know, and maybe we'll meet up again, see how they're crisscrossing. It's like, maybe you'll meet up again, maybe you won't. Let me see if there's any more cards that want to come out. Okay, because this one was on the bottom. But it's Justice. And Justice always reminds me of Libra, and Libra is an air sign. So you could be dealing with a Libra or somebody who has Libra in their chart, or it could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay? All right, you guys, let me see. Are there any more? Do we want to? I was going to say, I think that's it. I feel like that is your reading. Yes, that is your reading. Give you a little breakup of that. Like, that was a lot of heavy energy. I'm really proud of you guys. I'm really, really proud of you. It is not easy. It is not easy what you're doing. And also, the last message I'm getting from Spirit is the other thing too is whatever you're meant to do, like your purpose as a light worker, whether you're a starseed or both, but as a light worker, you're here right now, you're a light worker. That's your fucking job. And I remember someone telling me one time that they felt like their job was to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, yes, I agree with you. I think that that's true. But I also believe that you're meant to do way more than that. And I'm like, and I think you're hiding behind that. Like, if you've decided that your spirit work is X, Y, and Z, like, let's just say you've decided that, you're a banker. You're like, hey, I help a lot of people, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but, like, what bank do you work for? And, like, what are you, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, what, like, what's the underbelly of that energy that you're working with? You know, because you can tell yourself all day long, like, you know, my job, you know, is to walk the streets and just give out information. Maybe, but you know what? Unless you made a pact with Spirit to live home free, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm just trying to give you an analogy. It's like the analogy that's coming through. It's like, if you've decided that, then that's your reality. But that doesn't have to be your reality. None of us are meant to suffer. Like, you know, it's like, we're not here to be the Christ, you know, whatever, like the strap, like, you know, beating yourself, like being the martyr, it's like, that's not for everybody. And if it is, it's temporary. Like, maybe you need to go through that to learn something, right? But like I've been saying, I'm like, I've loved the tiny home experience. I'm so glad I've done it. And now I'm done. I'm like, I want to be in a home. I thought that getting this would be great. And then the more we started to remodel it, I was like, you know what? Nope. I want to be in a house. I want a solid foundation. I don't want wheels under me. I want to be in a home. If I want to travel by wheels, I will put that together at some point. But I'm like, no, this is what I need. This is what I want. And I've been feeling it. And I could feel it, that it's been coming to me. So, you know what I mean? It's like, but at the time, I was in a different place. And I feel like for you, it's like, if you're going back into the bargaining stage of like, oh, but like, I love this place. Or you're like, dude, I have the best apartment. Like, or say you're in a rent-free situation. Or like when I lived in LA, I have friends in LA and New York that were in rent controlled apartments, which means that like there were laws that were put in place so that people couldn't just like have the rent be $200 to one person and like $1,500 to another person. Like, they had to like really change that, or be like, you know, the building shit. And then, you know, it's like, you charge $200 a month, and then you do an overhaul, and then you charge, $5,000 a month. They're like, okay, well, we appreciate that you did that, but like, you can't just like evict people. Like, that's your choice, So they started the rent control for a reason. And I feel like for some of you, you're like, I'm in a rent controlled, blah, blah, blah. My apartment's so awesome. And they're like, yes, but again, it's a material thing. You will get something even better than that. Let go of that so that you can get, like, maybe you want to live in an old Victorian that's like, 200 years old. And they're like, wouldn't you rather have that than be stuck in this apartment with this person that you don't even want to fucking be roommates with or live with? You got to see the bigger picture. It's all about perspective, remember? Okay, so those are your messages. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. And all of my information is all over this channel. So if you want to contact me, if you want a session with me, if you want to donate any cards, money, prayers, whatever it is, it's all there for you. And I'll see you at the next reading. I love you so much. Take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome, reading 2. Okay, I don't normally do this, but I am really being called right now to ask you to get comfortable. You can sit like I am. Oh, my throat chakra is coming out. You can lay on the floor, sit on the floor, your bed, the chair. I'm on the couch right now. But I am getting this really strong feeling that we need to stretch. I feel like you guys need to release and let go. So stretch any way that feels good to you. Just stretch your body out. Oh, I just heard my back crack. Yeah, like I'm just hearing like stretch. Do it safely, not over the flame. Stretch. Yeah, like just stretch it out, 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 stretch it out. You're the first, I did the collective messages, and then I did reading 1, obviously you're reading 2. So this is the first time I was called to do this, but I'm just hearing like, just stretch. I'm also like hearing be like, ah, like if you have to like vocalize it, you can be like, ha, ha, you know what I mean? Like clear your throat chakra. This is, I don't normally preface like this, but I'm going to tell you right now, I just heard this is going to be a doozy. And the reason why I feel that way is because, well, first of all, energetically I feel, but also in the group reading, we spoke of, Spirit drew our attention to the date today. And the way that it came out was that it's 798. And it was just really interesting because they were saying you can't get to 9 without 8, right? But some of us are trying to jump ahead from 7. So this message, I feel like, is yours. If you didn't watch the collective reading, you might want to go back and watch it. But if not, I definitely feel like this is connected to that. And, I'm starting to realize when they have me do these collective readings, then it's like I do the separate readings. It's almost like I do a collective message and then take from it what you will. And then it's like each reading will go further into like one of the energies or topics that Spirit is going towards. And so that's what I'm feeling with you guys. I'm feeling love. I'm feeling lack of love for self. There's a lot of stuff. I'm feeling rage, anger, jealousy, just a lot of different emotions. And if you watched reading 1, the setup was a little different. And interesting, they have this selenite in the middle. And I feel like you got fire here, and then you've got like, the shadow, and it's like, and you're in the light. And I feel like I kind of feel like this is you, before we even go into the cards, I'm getting this energy that you kind of feel like you're in between, and you're like, can't they just like, I feel like you're like, can't they just talk to each other? Like you're 8, right? But 7 and 9 can't deal with each other. So you're in the middle. So you're 8. Does that make sense? But I feel like it's even deeper than that. I really do. I feel like there's something about like, you're missing something. I don't know how to explain it. Also, the other readings didn't have me bring anything in, but this had me bring my scarf. And I actually retired this, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to use it, for readings. It's a cool backdrop. It's got like little shimmery, cool stuff. And they were like, no, you should wear it. And then like one day I like put one part of the scarf through here, and it looks so rad. And part of it got stuck in the washing machine, and I was like, it's a mess. I'm going to throw it. Look at it. I'm like, it's a fucking mess. I'm going to throw it away. And they're like, no, you don't want to throw it away. And I feel like there's something like, also, if you didn't watch the last relationship reading where they said, can this relationship be salvaged? You may want to go look at that, because I feel like somebody just asked that question. Can this be salvaged? Like, they're like, oh yeah, you can salvage it, and they're saying yes, right? But it's on the way you look at it. This relationship, or whatever you're asking about, this person, place, thing, whatever, it can be salvaged. But it's going to depend on you. So let's dive into the dark mirror. Okay, so if you didn't see at the beginning, we have the dark mirror oracle. Let me bring this over here. I feel like this wants to be here too. Like, I feel like it's kind of like in an odd way, like your mascot. And the window's here, and I feel like the light from my door being open is like kind of like doing the same thing. Also, drink some water. Hydrate. Water is our best friend. I'm not even a salt person. I'm actually not. And I always thought, oh, how great, because there's a lot of hypertension in my family and my blood and bone and through my ancestry. But long story short, recently I have been like eating salt, like, or craving salt and drinking water. And then I thought, oh yeah, because salt retains water. And I feel like they're trying to get us to like really like get our bodies ready for the 8-8 portal. It's like as each day goes by, it's like this ascension. We can feel it. Like if I eat anything, like last night I had popcorn at like 10 o'clock at night, and my stomach, I felt fine. I didn't go to bed till like 2:30. It was like 4.5 hours later, but I woke up this morning and I was like, ugh. But I eat popcorn all the time. I make it home on the air popper. I have my own stuff. It's like a healthier version, but for some reason, my body, I didn't ask my pendulum. And when I don't ask my pendulum, that's when I'm like, I kind of feel like whenever I'm doing whatever I want, but deep down I kind of know I shouldn't. And if I ask my pendulum, they would probably tell me not to, but I want it anyway. I do it, but then I feel sick, right? I kind of feel like this is the analogy of your life right now. Like, this is your reading, because sometimes I'm like, why are you having me share such a silly, like, pointless story, But they're like, it's not pointless. It's not pointless. Like, everything like has a purpose. By the way, I forgot to take this out, but this is my little fairy bell. I use it to help break up the energy when it's getting just a little too intense. So I did meant to bring it in, but it was kind of hanging out there. Also, so far you're the only one that wanted some energy, like plant medicine. So work with lavender. I do have lavender here, but they didn't have me pull it out. They actually had me pull out my lavender oil. If you are going to work with something like this or get fresh lavender, it's lavender season right now in North America. I actually live in the lavender, in the area where the lavender capital of the United States is. And it's pretty dreamy, actually, just driving around there at certain times of the year. Like right now, it's like if you just drive through, you just feel super chill and super calm. Lavender is so calming. So maybe that's why they had me bring this in too, like the color of lavender. Like, I'm just feeling like, and I'm also feeling like cozy. Like some of you, if you need a cozy day, they're like, crank up the air conditioner, get yourself a blanket and a movie and some popcorn and have yourself a good cry. Right now in real time, as you saw from the title, we're in the third quarter, last quarter moon, the 7th phase, which is transition and forgiveness. But quite interesting that we are not just that, but it's like the Cancer energy. We're finally saying goodbye to Cancer. The way that the overlaps have been, if you've noticed, for quite some time, we've had this overlap of about 6 weeks of an energy. I know for a long time, at least when I first started studying, obviously it goes around, so it's been around before, but when I first started studying astrology and all that, zodiac signs, after I became a medium, I was like, okay, I need to know a little bit more about who I'm actually reading for and the energies, knowing about the energies, things like that. But when I started to get to certain energies, I started to see this kind of like pattern, and these very divisive, like everything's very divisive, like why do we have 3 seasons, of earth, air, fire, water? Like, why do we have, 3 sets like that, but there's a reason why. To everything, turn, to every season, we change. There's, even if you live somewhere where the, weather stays the same and the climate doesn't change that much, it's like the energies still change. It doesn't matter where you live, especially now we're all connected through social media. In some ways people are like, I wish we never had social media, but then in other ways it's like, no, it's good, because I think because of social media that now we are seeing you know, the dark web started when the web started, right? Of course, people were figuring out and coding and all that. Like, you know, the best of the best were starting out. They found a way that you can hide child pornography, slavery, all these horrible things, like, you know, contacting people through whatever. So not using your phones or using a fax or, you know, whatever, internet, like pictures. Like once they started, it's like every time something dark was born, something light learned how to heal it, right? And vice versa. Every time something went really light, the shadow learned how to teach the light to have balance. And I feel like that is what we're in right now. Is spirit is really pushing us to balance our divine feminine and masculine. And I feel like with you, you're having this balance, or I should say, imbalance. I feel like you're having this imbalance of shadow and light, is what it feels like. So let's see what the cards have to say. Reading two, reading two, reading two. By the way, I noticed the other day, I have I have the seams for my couch covers on this side because of the color between my husband, myself, and our cat, Bubba. Like, just like everything from being outside, eating, whatever. So I decided to keep them on this side so the other side is good and we turn them around and over forgets. If you're ever wondering. I was watching a few of my readings, like when I'm editing, and I'm like, why the fuck do I have the zipper side out? Like, I'm like, why, or why didn't I think to put the zipper side out? And then I thought, because it doesn't matter. It's like we spoke about my dirty feet in the reading one, right? Like, they're saying, stop putting your attention and your, like, thoughts into things that don't mean anything. That's like some old, like, who cares? Like, you know, whatever, like, do you do you, you do you. Oh my gosh, here we go. Oh, number 10, colorless angel. So, right, we are in the third quarter moon. We are in the transition and forgiveness. And after today, we'll be in the waning crescent, and that will be rest and restore. So I feel like this is you, man. Like, you feel beat to fucking shit, which makes sense, right? Because you're a light bringer and you're holding light for everybody. But if your light is doused because you've got, I feel like you've got, you know, also because this is so heavy, I'm going to say for some of you, I feel like this is fire and this is earth. So it's either like, this is how you live, like in the divide in the middle, you know, like you're still straddling and not like, you know, learning like to pull away from this, like basically, before I get to this is basically about not setting boundaries. I can tell you that right now. This is about not setting boundaries. And interesting that I was talking about the Cancer energy, because I feel like take this last week, whenever you watch this, it's timeless. So a week from this reading, take the next week to just basically, I say it like it is, and I don't normally, this is really coming through spirit. Basically tell everybody to bugger off, fuck off. You know, just like, I know we have a lot of people in our tribe that are British too, right? But be like, you know, I need this time to myself. Be like, you know, I have to. It's like there's no oxygen left in the room, right? It's like there's no bells to save you. There's no lavender, although this is what you need, right, to clear the air. Also, I'm hearing like doing more smudging, like things like that too. Like smudging is massive. Bells, sound therapy, aromatherapy, right? Like I wish I had smell-o-vision so you could smell this. I'm kind of sending it to you, but you know, also for years I had a friend who loved lavender. Everything was lavender. I couldn't stand it. It made me sick to my stomach when I would smell it. Come to find out, I have fresh lavender brought to me from somebody, and it was like from a really good source, like a healthy source, you know, like organic, so to speak, you know, heirloom, no pesticides, no chemicals, nothing. And I was like, what is that? She's like, dude, that's lavender. I'm like, no, I hate lavender. And she's like, no, you probably hate synthetic lavender. Drink more water. Yeah, like you're not drinking enough water. There's not enough self-care. Like I'm feeling like a blankie. Yeah, like you guys need to, oh yeah, this is like self-care summer. Transition out of being this for everybody. It's fucking self-care summer. Stop this and go and get yourself some water. Whenever I say drink water in these readings, I mean it. I'm not joking around. I'm literally here as a guide. I'm your higher self trying to help you take care of yourself. Some of you are even this lean, right? Like you're not eating healthy. You're not taking care of yourself. you know. And I also just heard for some people, vegan diet doesn't work for you. I've tried. I've really tried. I love eggs. If I can fucking eat eggs, I would eat eggs all day long. I lived on a farm. I lived on a few farms actually where I helped take care of the chickens. They were happy and joyful. They were so excited to show me where their eggs were, you know, and I would collect the eggs and I would be so excited to eat them. They left this treasure for me, you know, and I got sick. I get sick every time. That's me. I need to be vegan. For whatever reason, this avatar at this point in my life, maybe forever, maybe not, I need it. Alcohol is not my friend. I cannot drink. Cannabis, love it, but I've also been realizing I don't want to smoke weed anymore. I want to do more tinctures and things like that, maybe smoke once in a while. Like, I've just been getting like these where I'm feeling like I still want and, you know, want to use plant medicine, but I don't want to smoke it anymore. I don't want to put smoke in my lungs. It's just, but all of a sudden, it's just like things just started to shift and started to change. And I'm like, all right, so I've got this cannabis. I'm going to start making some tincture. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll let you guys know if I'm going to sell anything. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that because I've really been drawn to create again in the kitchen. So I'll keep you posted and let me know if you're interested. But yeah, I'm feeling like there's just so many things out there now that you can use, and legal plant medicines, you know, like look at rosemary. I mean, rosemary is just... There, I can go on and on. There are just so many. So I'm feeling like for you guys, it's time to seek out plant medicine. It might even be time to study it. And I'm also hearing for some of you, you don't need to go to school. Some of you, yes, if it's an actual practice and something you want to go into, yes, you need certifications and things like that. And a lot of countries, you know, they do that to protect us, you know. But for some of you, it's like, no, this is just self-healing. So, you know, if there's certain flowers you're drawn to, plants, whatever, work with it. I don't even know if we're going to go into the card. Is that a third quarter moon? It's a half moon. Yep, it's a third quarter moon. Wow. Also, I feel like this is it. Like this is, you've come to a completion. Almost like I feel like some of you are like, Lula, you don't fucking have to tell me twice, man. I'm done. Like I don't like the way I feel. I want to feel better. I want my body to feel better. I want my mind to feel better. I want my soul to feel better. And self-care is the only thing on the menu. There are so many ways. Let me tell you, I live in one of the most expensive, most sought after areas in all of the United States. And I see things up at the stores. There's a lot of cool local stores, and especially at the co-op. I see things up all the time for, I actually called on one the other day. And I think if the one guy hadn't called before me, that she would have given it to me, but it was like $500 a month. It was mostly off-grid, some electricity, wood stove. It was like a dreamy little tiny little cottage guest house. It had a nice little kitchenette area. It was just enough for one person, but it was so roomy and cozy and just quite adorable actually. And they're like $500, you know, a month, everything included. It's out there. There are a lot of people that want to help people right now. There are so many ways you can put in advertisements places and say, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. I only have this much amount of money, or I don't have any money. Can I trade for, you know, cleaning your home, walking your dog? You know, I see those things all the time too. They had some guy had put up, you know, free room and board, like free food, free everything. Like you don't have to worry about anything, you know, like the one I've seen that are like, I'll pay your cell phone bill, I'll pay, you know, like within reason, you know, obviously like your car note or like your insurance, because it's cheaper than paying for in-home healthcare. And then you have a new friend, you know. I met this beautiful, adorable creature, this elderly crone at the co-op. We had the best conversation about God and the divine masculine and how women need to be more compassionate. And we just had such a great conversation. And I said to Spirit, I'm like, if that's where I'm meant to go, like to go help somebody like that, I'm like, you let me know. Like, I'm like, I am down. Just show me, lead the fucking way. You know, I was called out to all my spirit guides. I'm like, put the breadcrumbs out for me. Like, where am I meant to go next? I'm like, where am I meant to bring the medicine, receive the medicine? You know, because you don't know, are you in the receiving end right now? Or are you in, because to me it seems like it's time for you to maybe not give, unless you're giving to someone who's like really angelic, and they can really take care of themselves. You know, you're just there to kind of like be their friend and like, you know, tidy up. And I mean, I honestly saw one that had like, it wasn't even about cleaning. They're like, I have a housekeeper, because where I live, like I said, it's very wealthy. A lot of people retire here. They call like snowbirds, you know. And so they're just looking, they're like, I just want somebody to watch my house. You don't even have to, you know, pay for anything. 6 months. In 6 months, if you know what I mean? Like if you had no bills for 6 months, can you imagine like what you could do and what you could accomplish? So I'm just saying, it's just like, I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it on Craigslist. I'm seeing it at stores. People are putting in ads for help to help out. People are putting in ads, I need help, please help me. Some guy put in a thing the other day. I have an RV. It's 30 years old, but it's in pretty much pristine condition. It's been sitting outside for years. It has no leaks. It has no bad smells. He's like, please, do you have a family? Can I help you? Like, I mean, people want to help. The tides are turning. Don't live in the past, and don't keep depleting yourself or living in a situation that's depleting you to the point where you can't take care of yourself. See how their wings are just fucking pretty much gone. They're just almost gone. They've like withered into the darkness. Also, out of nowhere, I just felt like I was going to choke, and I had to like work my way through it. I feel as if some of you are having this like major like crisis of consciousness. I have a place that I never knew. I've jokingly and lovingly referred to it as Subconscious City for so many moons now, and then I had a download from Spirit recently that it is very real. That when I'm sleeping, if I'm not astral traveling and helping people, sometimes I know I'm astral traveling because I'm like, I am not, like, who is this? Whose body am I in? You know, whatever. And then other times, like when it's me, I realize that it's like my world, my innerverse that's like trying to talk to me, trying to, you know what I mean? Like I've had different levels of dimensions of my subconscious as well, where like people in one level of my subconscious, in one dimension of my subconscious, they're very mean and awful to me, and then in other they're like an angel and they're so good to me, and they're like, we're like best friends, and I'm like, I'm so fucking confused. You know what I mean? I'm like, what's happening? Spirit's like, it's everything all at once. It's like we're breaking down so many parts of our psyche, our subconscious, our higher, you know, consciousness, our lower conscious, you know what I mean? Like whatever you want to call it, whatever languaging you want to use. We're in an inner crisis right now. So we can't help other people. And it's okay to be where you are. Recently, one of our tribe members, you know who you are, you know, we love you so much. And they're like, I'm trying. And I'm like, I know you're fucking trying, man. I know you are. But there's also like a level where it's like, but in which respect are you trying? Are you trying for you? Or are you still tap dancing? You know, because if you're still trying to help other people with that beautiful light, you know, it's like you can't shine. Other people need to be in their own shadow. You can still be in your light and be there for them. But if you know, as empaths, you know, we get drained. Like, you know, look at this. I've had this selenite for a long time, and as you know, you can't wash selenite, right? Because it'll dissolve. So I try to do as much as I can to keep it clean. But over the years of holding it and using whatever, it gets kind of dirty and dingy, right? You know, it's just natural. It's just natural wear and tear. Well, it's like our souls are the same way, you know? So we got to take really good care of it. We got to replenish. We got to go back inside, right? It almost looks like there's like an inner band in here. It's like we have to go back inside, because then the only way for us to heal and to bring the light back out, right? I'm covering this. This is an old table. But I was going to use a cover, and they were like, no, now I know why, right? Because it's like you're trying to, it's almost like you're trying to put out all these fires with your light, other people's shadow. And maybe you're doing it because it's easier, you know? I mean, I remember when my father was drinking and got violent, you know, it's like my mom would be able to take it to a certain point, and then it's like if he, you know, or I should say, it wouldn't be violent at first. It's like it would be an argument, and then it would escalate. And even if he came home a happy drunk, it's like if my mom was pissed about it or whatever, it's like it could turn him on a dime. And then it's like we, you know, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then all of a sudden it's like run for the fucking hills, because now you've done it. And I remember as we got older, you know, because it started when we were fairly young, you know, my siblings and I, under the age of 5. you know? And so when it started like that, um, it's like there would be these moments where I think when we were little, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, right? Like you're just like witnessing and you're seeing like what's happening. And then as we got older, it's like I remember all of us taking turns at points saying, stop, like to my mom, like shut the fuck up. Don't egg it on. Don't, even if you're right, like just shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like you're making it worse. And it's like there's this old term, you're cruising for a bruising. And it sounds so gross and vile, but it's true. It's like sometimes you need to just shut the fuck up and be quiet and let the person write out whatever it is they're going through. And if you don't like it, leave. And if it's an abusive situation, when that person is not in your, you know, there are so many ways for people to help you now. You can get out of that situation. There are so many. There are so many. If you have access to watch this, you have access to get help instantly within 5 minutes at your house to get you out of there. You know, and this is a public service message that none of us are trees. You know, yes, they're like bloom where you're planted. Okay, sure. Well, you know what? It's a lot easier to pull a plant out than a tree. When a tree is planted and it grows and grows and grows, the roots grow so deep, they're not going to move unless they're an ant, right? And they can move freely. But you know what I mean? It's like your roots are deep in there. But when you're a plant and your roots are only this deep, you can pull strong and rip it out. So it's like if you've been rooted in this energy, these people, whatever, it's going to take a long time to pull yourself out. And you may have to chop off like trees, right? Like sometimes they'll chop off parts of the tree to save the tree because the tree will get a virus of some kind or some type of infestation of bugs or something. And then the only way to stop it is they have to cut off, you know, they have to take off part of it for it to survive. And I feel like you don't need to cut off part of you to survive. You know what I mean? And I feel like you've been, you know, you're like the scarecrow. You're like, there's a little bit of me over here and a little bit over there. I was looking the other day and poor Baba, my cat, like she's molting. It's like the most intense molting she's ever had. And there's chunks of her everywhere, inside the house, outside the house. And I was like, geez, if anybody know anybody, I think I was like torturing her, doing something to her, you know? But it's like a molting process. And I feel like maybe that's what's happened. And maybe you are starting to realize that you've, you know, hit the brink. I'm going to go to the book only for the, it's number 10, only for what they want me to read. I have this feeling it's not going to be everything. And then we're going to pull some clarifiers from the tarot because this is about transition and forgiveness. So this is what you need to transition out of and not feel bad about anything. You know what I mean? Like you did what you were meant to do, right? You're an angel, the colorless angel. It would just say colorless. Think about it. If you weren't an angel of some kind on earth right now, if you weren't some type of starseed, you wouldn't be here. You're a starseed. A motherfucking starseed, right? Like you're not just a light worker. You have a purpose. Like you have something to do here that's really profound. And you're, you know, and it's like being on fire, you know, right? But it's more like this. It's more about protecting, like asking like Archangel Michael, the Archangel of Fire and protection, you know, like, and calling in your angels and saying, help me. I can't do this by myself. And they're saying, you don't have to. We got your back. But you have to release and let go of the past. This is what has been the common theme. You know, it's like, I feel like over the years since I've been doing this practice, it's like all readers, we're all seeing the same theme. And I'll tell you, like, I'll do a reading and I won't even look, and then I'll see, and it's crazy to me how much we're all talking about the same thing. We're just different. There's, you know what I mean? Like, obviously we're not going to have just one person. It's like we don't just have one. That would be like one religious leader, like the Pope, right? Like that's right. But you have all like, then you have like all these other divisions of them. You know, you have the Pope and you have like the Grand Pope or whatever. I don't know all the names, the archdiocese and stuff. But then you've got, you know, the Father. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right? The priests. And then in some religions, the preachers, the, you know, whatever, it's like you've got the person. Well, you have multiple people that are spreading the word of God. Well, we are spreading the word of the God that I know. I am a hand of God, like you are a hand of God. If we are star seeds, we are hands of God. And that is the way that I'm getting for us to look at. Now, I say divine hand of the creator, but I'm using it in that term of hand of God so you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand, research it and look it up. But because there's God and there's goddess, divine masculine, divine feminine. But then there's a creator source that's everything, all encompassing. So you can't really just say God or goddess, like, or when people say my father or Lord, yeah, you can, you know, but it's on the way you look at it. Like, were you made by a God or were you made by the creator? So it's like divisions of like creation and evolution. And so they want you to start seeing yourself as the divine, like, being, not like, but the divine being that you are. You are a divine being. So the moon phase, oh, it's the first quarter. Oh, I was wrong. Yeah, because of the shadow. That makes sense. And each of these cards has a stage from the stages of death, or that's the way I'm wording it to get you to understand. They word it a little differently. But in this stage, it's denial. And I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's like you're denying who you are. And you want to just skip from 7 to 9 without going 7, 8, 9. But it's like, but you chose to be human here. So you have to take care of your avatar. You have to take care of your everything. And remember that your mind isn't controlling you. You are controlling. You have to look at it like, I forget what movie it is. I think it's Men in Black, where it's like there's like the human, and then they peel back the head and there's like a little alien in there, like with little like stick shifts and like computerized whatever. It's like you have to look at it like that. Once you accept that you are this, once you really, genuinely, truly, with everything you are, accept that you are this, everything else will fall into place. But until you do that, you're going to keep stretching yourself thin like the scarecrow. Okay, so this is a message from your higher self to you. This is your conversation with your higher self, your third dimensional. It is better not to feel rather than feeling pain. So it could even be that you're not dealing with your shit. You're dealing with everybody else's stuff. And you're watching these readings and you're looking at these, but you're still not 100% like recognizing and acknowledging your power. And you've given your power out to so many people. And you know what? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is research soul retrieval. Because it's time for you to really go on a soul retrieval mission. And then let me tell you, I did that and I had no idea what was happening at the time. But then when I was about 3/4 of the way through my experience, I was like, okay, I see what's happening. Because I was drawn back to where I grew up for a family wedding. And in 13 months, I went to 2 family weddings. And I was literally taken from from the state I was born to the state that I used to spend my summers in, to the state that my family was in and from. And it was like, I'm from Chicago, so it was like Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan, and it was like a U. And I realized I was going for all this soul retrieval. And it was interesting because the family was there. I didn't have to I didn't grow up where my mom lives now. My mom retired somewhere else. And even though I have a lot of stuff there, like energy, like where I, store in both literally and metaphorically, there was this energy that started to show me and showcase exactly what was happening. And I was like, holy shit. And one moment I looked around, and both weddings, I looked around, and the first wedding, I just cried hysterically because we were inside in this room, and it was the energy was so intense and so overwhelming and so awful, because it was there was a lot of fighting going on between family members, and the room was so small that you can feel it. And it made me sad because the wedding was held inside that building. And all I thought was, man, I wish they had done the wedding outside somewhere really magical and then had the reception there, because there was such an intensity that I couldn't even explain. And I was taking pictures and video, more of like just the whole thing. Like I knew that there was probably a good chance I was never going to see them again. So I wanted it for memories for myself. But then as I was going through it later, documenting it and posting it and whatever on my social media, then I started to like see how much soul retrieval was happening within all of us. It was so cool. It was so profound. And then by the second wedding, it was such a different experience, and it was in this church with super high ceilings, and like it was like one of the most famous churches in Chicago. So like it was like I think they had 4 weddings that day. It was fucking crazy. It was like, you have an hour to be here, you know what I mean? It was nuts. But then the reception was also like in this really cool grand like ballroom with really high ceilings, and like, you know what I mean? It was just like the energy was different, the air was different, and I was like, wow. So it's just interesting, both beautiful, but also like the first one felt like I was being smothered alive, and I had to be outside. I couldn't even be in that room. I didn't even dance or be around people. And then the second one, it was like I was dancing, having a good time. Like I had smoked a bunch of weed before I went in and had good food. It was just so different. Like everything was so different. I was different. I had changed so much in those 13 months. Like my witch had come to life. Also, the first wedding was in at the end of the summer, you know, Labor Day weekend. And then the second one was like in October, like more towards like Samhain and witchy. And like, it was just really powerful. You know what I mean? Like even like I dressed, like helped my mom put her outfit together, and I gave my mom my witchy cape, and just like all this cool fucking shit that happened. It was just cool. It was just like this really awesome, cool experience of soul retrieval. And I'm sharing it with you because I had moved away from home when I was 23, and I had gone back and lived, I was gone for almost a decade, then came back for almost a decade to the Midwest, and then like, you know, came back to the West Coast, but instead of being California, I came to the Pacific Northwest and the Olympic Mountains, and just like everything changed me. I became like I was woken, you know what I mean? Like I was fully like, and now I can look back on all that and see what a treasure it was, what a gift it was, and just how much everything had to happen that way. Even now, the way things are, you know, I'm like, oh no, I'm responsible for this. I'm gonna go take care of this. Or like, not now. Don't worry about that right now. Like right now, just like be where you are. This is where they need to be. This is where you need to be. Like, don't push it, don't force it. And so I'm saying the same to you. Don't push it, don't force it. You know, let it come naturally to you. Pray on it, sit with spirit, journal about it. You know, you can do soul retrieval without leaving your house. For me, it was such a massive experience because you probably are as well. But I feel like most of us starseeds are not just the way showers, as they say, or the, you know, divine freedom fighters. It's like whatever you want to call us, angels, you can call us witches, healers, deep down believers in magic. It's like whatever that is, it's like we are human here. So most likely you are breaking the ancestral traumas and the patterns from your family. I wouldn't have put myself in a family that basically despises everything I am if it wasn't meant to grow me and show me that I am this, and that I'm a warrior, and that I chose to do that. I personally believe that we are most likely, for those of us who've been here over lifetimes, we probably, like, the blood and bone that's in us is probably not just obviously our ancestors and ancestors, but I'm saying like it's probably our own. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the blood and bone that is inside of this avatar also was inside an avatar that I was in like 200 years ago, 2 centuries ago. You know what I mean? Like, and now I am this character playing Tallulah Kelly, medium, telepathic medium, you know what I mean? Like whatever, like give me titles, you know what I mean? Like in this episode of blah, 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 or in this movie, you know, and I'm the star of my show, just like you're the star of your show. When I'm working here and I'm with you guys, it's almost like that doesn't even exist. That energy, that person It's like, because this is my job. This is what I do. I'm here to, my job is to wake the warriors. My job is to wake the witch within the star seeds and the light workers. You know, they're not, it's like not all light workers are star seeds, but all star seeds are light workers. You're doing something here for a reason. You have a purpose. You know, whether it's in shadow or in light. You know, I see a lot of people who do what I do, and they are absolutely fucking and working in shadow. But it's because they're teaching in shadow, and they're teaching people how not to be afraid of the shadow. You know, they're all in black and long black nails and tattoos and, like, you know what I mean? And they're the real fucking deal. Especially the ones that are from, like, deep regions of, like, Europe, you know, in Russia, where it's like that old medicine. That fucking shit has never gone anywhere. You know, the Americanized and the colonization of America and all that shit, like, they were trying to, you know, they literally, like, beat and killed the voodoo out of all the you know, Africans that came over here. That was just their form of magic. Just like the same with the Australian outback. You know, it's like, you know, when you talk about your walkabouts and things like that, it's like we're just different. We're in different continents doing the same fucking thing. It just has a different title or a different name, and some of us do it more in the shadow. But, you know, I mean, that person who's like doing that stuff that looks all dark and ominous on those readings, you don't know that, like, when they're done with that like they fucking peel those nails off, and they're like wearing like pink hair, and you know what I mean, like in like light pink and like light, they're all like little frilly. You have no idea, because that's one side of them. You know, it's like everything it's everything to everything, turn. So the visual seed is a dark horse prances proudly in the background. I always forget there's a horse there. Unnoticed by a man kneeling upon a pond. And interesting, I saw that as Divine Feminine. He wears a crown of myrrh, his face expressionless. Behind him, wings of smoke and bones grow or disappear. Right? Like, in whatever way you're seeing it is what they're saying. And it says, the sentence is, apathy is the crowned king of nothingness and the shining queen of whatever. Right? So the going dark is, we can be Siegfried, the dragon-slaying hero, but not when he slays the dragon, nor when is he betrayed and dies, but when he is simply doing nothing. We can be Michael, the archangel. Oh, isn't that interesting? So work with Archangel Michael. That's the second time they've come into your reading. While he waits bored and motionless, and St. George, surprised in a moment of stillness and nothingness. All the strong rivers can become a swamp when they reach the plains, and the most yummy food can become gummy after a couple of hours unattended on a table. Right? I also just saw like a vision of like food rotted on a table with flies, and I feel like that's like how your energy feels to you. Wow, that's heavy, you guys. That's some serious shit. I also feel like some of you are in some major challenges of the dark night of the soul. Ooh, I just got the chills on that one. And just know, if you found your way here, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Don't question it. Be where you need to be. This isn't a beatdown of like, oh, you suck. This is like a, hey, babe, we love you. You're done. We spoke about this in one of the other readings. You know, where in Sex and the City, where Carrie says to Charlotte, you shit your pants this year. You're done. You know what I mean? Like, so whatever it is, it's like, also this time, our human bodies are having a hard time adjusting to how fast the time is actually going. But our brains and our like our souls know, but our hearts and our bodies are still trying to catch up to the pain, to the loss, to the suffering. That's why you're feeling like this. You're going through a major metamorphosis, a transmission of downloads, all that, you know. Even especially if you're like, yes, Spirit, I'm ready, give me the downloads that I need for my purpose, you know, I'm ready, blah blah blah, and you can bring it in. But if you're not ready, you're gonna have a hard time holding space. Right? Like I can eat healthy and take really good care of my avatar, but on the days I want to pig out and have a good time, sometimes it'll go right past me if I eat really healthy foods when I quote unquote pig out. I love calling it that because I'm a pig, you're the boar, and that's okay, because it's okay to have that time to just chomp and have fun. But we have to be careful of our avatars. Our stomachs are actually shrinking. Like we're starting to realize that we don't need as much food. And so if you're noticing that you're eating, like maybe you're even eating more than normal, but you don't feel good, it's because your body is trying to acclimate to like the crystalline energy, right? Like it's trying to crystallize and like and become what you need to be here to hold space as an anchor. And it may take a few months, a few days, a few weeks. It's just going to be different for all of us, which is why they're really urging all of us to be, alone. Yesterday, I was like ready. Like every time I have these like serious conversations with my husband, he's like, I'm like, do you hear what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, I hear it. You want to break up? I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I just feel like defeated. I'm like, yes, when you say stuff like that, yes. I'm like, no, I'm just saying like we need time apart. Like we need more time. Like I'm like, you're just where you are and I'm where I am. And I'm like, we will eventually, catch up or we won't. And if we don't, that's okay too, is what I'm trying to say. Um, and so like wherever you are, it's like I feel like you're staying in a low vibration with people, places, things, a job, person, your home, roommates, whatever. You're just staying in such a low vibration that it's like hard for you to show your light, and you're like back here. And you're just like covered in like shadow, and you can't even like see you barely. You're like looking this way. So this says, there is a lot of darkness when we make the habit of going gray. We numb our senses with a fog of delays, and then we just get indifferent to the fog itself. I'm here, we whisper. And if by a very tiny chance someone notices and replies and asks, who's there? We become shy and we stay silent a little more. So they're saying like, it's almost like you're asking for help from spirit or you're constantly doing things, but you're still going here. So they're like, well, I can't, like Michael's like, I'm trying to bring you to put the fire under your ass, to give you the energy you want to be creative or to relax or whatever it is you need. It's different for all of you. But they're like, but he's like, but I can't force you, right? Like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, which is funny because we got a horse here. Also, whenever there's an animal in a picture, I always say work with it. So work with horse, spirit, animal, especially right now because horses, the horse spirit medicine, especially the native spirit medicine, research it, look it up. If spirit draws me to, I'll put a shorts about it, but otherwise seek it out because that's your spirit animal right now. And then the last thing is, you cannot be saved unless you face the dragon, right? Like that's the whole point of this Siegfried and the dragon slaying, Siegfried the dragon slaying hero they were speaking about at the beginning, right? It's like after the dragon hurts, it says you cannot be saved unless you face the dragon, and the dragon hurts. Of course it does, right? And so they're saying the dragon is you. You have to face your darkness, your dark horse. Katy Perry's Dark Horse, that song, that's Are You Ready? I love that song. It's so good for readings. But it's true. I'm coming at you like a dark horse. And maybe you are. Maybe that's a thing. Here's a flip side to this message. Maybe you're trying to be this, but you're really the dark warrior. Maybe you're like sunshine and roses to everybody. You're like la 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 la, but like you're the one that's supposed to bring and teach the dark medicine because you've been living in the fucking dark medicine for ages, Oh my gosh. Let's see if there's any tarot messages coming through. Whew. Oh my gosh, I went to pick up the deck and this was literally the whole deck was here and this was the only one still sitting on the couch. Wow. And since I already shuffled them for the first one, I usually knock out the energy, but I'm going to take that. Let me see if there's any more. I'm going to knock out the energy because that card didn't come out in the first one. But I'm saying like I usually do that, like knock out. Okay. All right. So this is upside down. We have the star upside down. Yes. Because you're not even the star of your own show. Look, it wants to go down. Look at this. It wants to go down. It doesn't even want to be in front of the fire. It doesn't even want to. Also, the star card represents Aquarius. I always like to put the signs on the back to remind me. So this star represents Aquarius. So this could be you or someone in your energy. Also, a fly just came in. Interesting. What was I just saying about that? A few readings ago, we spoke about the energy around you being like when you see a pile of shit and a bunch of flies on it, and there's like something kind of, thank you, fly spirit. Did you see that? I don't know if you guys saw that. But research fly spirit medicine too. Flies have a purpose, right? But when you think of that, like flies on fecal matter, right? Like that's not the most, loving, beautiful sight to see, right? But you could also look at it as that they are serving a purpose. So Vega is the name of this star, And it's number 17. And 1 and 7 is 8. And didn't we say that you were 8? And the fly is talking to you. There's wide open windows and doors. I learned from somebody, and it's really fucking true, that if you actually take your screens off and you leave your windows open, depending on where you live, obviously, but they will naturally follow out the window. Like they may come in, but it's a nice way to like do like a cleansing of the home of the energy, but they'll most likely kind of circle out. And I watched it happen. It's kind of cool, actually. It's like they know. But when if you only have one door open, or they get caught inside, right? You open the door and they fly in and then they get caught. You know, I kind of feel like there's some metaphor in there for you. Also, what do you notice is the common theme in this reading? Alone, alone, alone. And I, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, will read from the first card. But I feel like there's something with this that has to do with the past, which is why I feel like this is you and this is like your past, right? Meaning, because it was like reading 1, because maybe you're drawn to reading 1, maybe you weren't, but if you are, go check it out. But there might be a little morsel in there for you. But don't make things your reading if they're not your reading, okay? That's really, really serious. So this one is called Woe, the 9 of Swords. And I want you to look at that just a little more closely. I think I posted, go look in my shorts section on this channel. Go look for this character. I did it. I either did it or I haven't posted it yet. And if I haven't posted yet, I'm sure they'll have me post it soon. So keep checking back in the shorts. Make sure to subscribe so that you can, you'll see it. But this, they're not having me read from the book from this. It's almost like they're trying to show you, like, see how the hearts are above you? But you got these other people like chomping at your energy, and like the love is like, I feel like the love are the angels trying to come in. They're like trying to help you. They're trying so desperately to help you because they're your family. You know, I remember one time I was talking about Archangel Michael to somebody, and I said my brother Michael or something. They're like, right? I'm like, because I'm like, I've always felt that. Like, I've always felt a kinship with the angels, and I feel this with you. So 9 of Swords is a pretty fucking intense card, but swords are also air signs, and Aquarius is an air sign, even though they consider them the water bringers. It's an air sign, so it could even be that you're dealing with an air sign, and that is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. But because there's 2, I almost feel like there's both of you have air in your air signs in your chart, and this could even just be you though, because this feels like a representation of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I mean, I know it's a little cliche with the pants and the skirt, but that's why this one was so androgynous, right? I saw divine feminine energy being sucked out, but they described this as a masculine energy card. So that's what I mean. It's all about energy. However you see yourself in the world, or you present yourself into the world, is one thing. But it's the inside. So it doesn't matter if you're a quote-unquote male identified watching this, right? It's your divine feminine that is suffering. And so, you know, you could still be a divine feminine identified, but you're not feeling, I feel like this wants to go here because it's still in the explanation of the story. Let me see, do we have any more? Because I was like, do we have any more? No. It's almost like it would crack, like, nope. Ooh, look at that. That's so interesting. Do you hear that? It's almost like, yeah, you guys need some good sound therapy. Sound therapy is your best friend right now. But do your own sound therapy. A singing bowl, bells, something like that. Because there is so much fakery and fuckery on the internet right now. It's unbelievable. And you may be like, oh, I love this. You know, I'll just say meditative minds. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I'm just using it because it's like one of the biggest ones, right? But you could be like, oh, I've been using meditative minds for years. But then you find out, like, you know, we're going to find out at some time, you know, that like actually meditative minds is like this really dark, you know, where they're like subliminally like sending messages. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. It's like because the human avatar and the human mind is so complex that you can't, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so easy to get caught up in the bullshit. That's why they're saying to be alone, so that you can get your balance back of your divine masculine and your divine feminine. I am going to read from the book because I love this book. And also because everything has an upright and you know, there's so many people watching these readings. So I always like to read both the upright and the reverse. I believe it came out reverse, but I'm going to read them both. But because I'm feeling the reverse energy first, we'll start there. And there are keywords in this book. This is the joie de vivre, joie de vivre, joy of life is what it basically breaks down to, I believe, or happiness, life, something like that. Okay, so the reversed is discouragement, dwelling on negativity, and poor choices. Hope emerges from the darkness. That's you. Illuminating your path of enlightenment like a star. Your journey dawns light on the universe within, and your inspired heart increases your intuitive abilities. Follow the light of the star, for it will lead you back to the right path. Have faith in your inner divinity and in the powers of universal spirit. It's also on page 15, if that means anything to anybody. And it's card number 17. And 15 is 6. And today's a 6 number, which is really interesting. So, yeah, I'm feeling this for you very, very, very strongly, how this is tying in. And the upright, the keywords are rejuvenation, harmony, faith, enlightenment, and wisdom. Filled with glittering faith, Vega meditates on the star of serenity. She's grateful for her increasing sense of fulfillment as she makes continual progress toward her goals. Vega renews both the subconscious and the material world with her pitchers of water. Oh, like the water bringer, exactly, right? Like Aquarius. So it could even be water signs, or like maybe it's that you need to, you know what? I'm going to take that as a sign. Let's take a break and drink some water right now. Stay hydrated. Keep healthy water with you at all times, in glass, not plastic, unless it's some type of something, that isn't going to, that has no leakage, seepage or whatever. It's really serious, that the whole thing coming out with the tampons. I'm like, no shit, man. Like I always felt sick wearing tampons. I always did. I was grateful for them. I wouldn't have lived without them, but I mean, I got so sick. I had pancreatitis, and sometimes I wonder, like, I mean, I had cervical, beginning stages of cervical cancer in my 20s. I had surgery and had it removed before I had to have chemotherapy, but if I had waited any longer, I was literally, it's like stage 5, like full blown, like this is scary, and had to have part of my cervix removed before it got to the rest of my body. Ooh, did you hear that? My door just shut by itself. The bell. That is a sign. Yeah, you need to clear away the energy, the toxic energy around you, and maybe surround yourself with water or go near water for healing. Maybe there's a place, a river, an ocean. I stay away from ponds and lakes just because they're very stagnant water, unless it's a very large, clear, natural lake. But like man-made lakes and things like that, think about man-made lakes and how scary they are at the bottom. That's why a lot of those man-made lakes, they say you don't want to go swimming there. Yeah, because they fucking took a canyon that had trees, dead trees and stuff, and then put water in it. I can't think of her name. Naya Rivera, I think is her name, from Glee. When the first second they said she was missing, I saw her getting tangled on a tree or something. And I'm like, and I don't know if they ever found her. I don't remember. I should research that. But like, I knew she was gone. And I saw visions of the little boy crying. But I think the thing that saved the baby was because I kept seeing her saying, stay on the boat, stay on the boat, stay on the boat. No matter what, stay on the boat, stay on the boat. And so he stayed on the boat. And he knew not to get into the water. Because if she hadn't said that to him repeatedly over and over, he would have gone in and died as well. And for whatever reason, she chose that to be her death. She chose that whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, that was her thing. That was, I mean, people call it like the things of Glee, like Corey, one of the other, I mean, there's just a lot of interesting things, but it's like, but are they angels? Are they starseeds? Like, are they light workers? Like, what was their purpose? Why were they here? Everybody has their own story. Everybody's the star of their own story. I'm sure someday somebody will probably make a movie about that. I would, because I mean, I find it fascinating. I find that stuff fascinating, but that's why I don't like going in like man-made lakes or certain places. Like I like to look at the water. I'm a triple fire though too, but my moon's in Scorpio. I love the water. I love to be near it, but I don't like to be in it. I don't like to, I mean, I love to shower and cleanse and take a bath, but like, I don't want to go in the ocean. I've been there enough times, almost drowned a few times, like, I don't want to like go all the way fully in a river. I'll go in a river, like, but I won't like submerge myself like fully in a deep river. That's just me. You know, like I like the cleansing energy of it. But I'm feeling for you guys like this is important for you. Like water is important, and it's like it's almost like I feel it's more than a cleansing for you. It almost feels like ritualistic. And if it isn't, I feel like it needs to become like I feel like she's making a bath for herself, and I feel like spirit's like it's high time that you take yourself out of this. Like almost like this doesn't exist. This doesn't exist, and it's like you are the star. You are this just the straight up star. And you may want to consider having sound therapy while you're having your bath, you know, something that trusted or something that feels good. You know, sit with spirit and be like, is this a good transmission? You know, is this a, you know, because just because someone's doing sound therapy doesn't mean they know what they're doing. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. And it might be right for somebody else, but not for you, right? So work with lavender too, like putting fresh lavender in your bath or, you know, lavender oil, but making sure you know the source. I use a lot of doTERRA products just because a lot of the people that I work with were selling oils and we did trade. You know, instead of paying me cash for the reading, they would pay me in oils. So I'm like, I don't care. It's this, to me, it's an exchange of energy. You know, whenever I put out these readings, it's an exchange of energy. So either you send a prayer back my way, a donation of cards, cash, you know, a gift. I mean, there's so many things like, you know, I'm like, I'm not wearing them now, but I have a lot of things from a lot of you guys. But also I'm hearing that too, is like the energy just, you need to cleanse your energy. It's like I can't stop hearing that over and over and over. Okay. So it says, Vega is grateful for her increasing sense of fulfillment as she makes continued progress towards her goals. Vega renews both the subconscious and the material world with her pitchers of water, one holding the sun's energy and the other holding the moon's energy. The ladybug is a symbol of trust and whispers messages of happiness in her ear. Oh, I love this card. I love these cards. But like, right, like there's the great thing about these cards is like, I love when they do this. I always know we're doing some type of like before and after or something, because it's like, look at how different they are, you know? But it's interesting because the Nine of Swords, if you're a tarot person or if you want, research the Nine of Swords, because I feel like this applies to someone in your situation. Because I feel like this reading's really about you, your transition and forgiveness of yourself and other things, of course, but there's definitely some divine masculine that is like out there, or somebody who's, you know, working more from their divine masculine and fear. I'm just feeling, look at that, whoa, like, oh, woe is me, oh, nobody loves me, and the fucking love's like got wings trying to come in, and they're like letting the, you know, this darkness eat them alive. So I definitely feel like this is for some of you an actual person from your, and I'm hearing from your past because they need to be your past. You know what I mean? Because this isn't your natural state. This is your natural state. You're a fucking superstar. Being a superstar is your natural state. And of course you have shadow in you and you have light, but you have balance of the color, the light, the shadow. You know what I mean? Like, but you're almost there. But there's just some things you got to clean it up. Like I'm just hearing from spirit, clean it up. I met this old crone recently, then I was telling her about my diet and how I yo-yo, and I was like in this woe is me, because I'm like, well, I go, everybody has, we were talking about addictions. I go, well, everybody has addictions. I said, but you know, you don't have to have sex to survive. You don't have to, you know, do drugs to survive, right? Some people do. But I'm saying like you don't have to do methamphetamines to survive. You can wake up and breathe and have air, but mine is food. And when your addiction is something that you need to survive, you know what I mean? It's like there are people who are allergic to the sun, but vitamin D is like so important. It's like, but they break out when they're in the sun. But that's most likely they're probably a starseed or lightworker or something, or maybe they're darkness shadow. I don't know, but maybe there's something there with that, right? Like even that is like there's something there and like inside of them, and it's outwardly like happening. So it's been a struggle of mine for a long time, and I could do so well for the longest time, and then bam, one trigger, one setback, and it's natural because I'm human here. I had obviously, you know, my story. I tell you guys my story. Also, when I looked down, I saw 222. So 222 is another number 6. So work with. Maybe you're seeing 222 a lot, or you're getting $2.22, or maybe you're going to see it from now on. But these are like winks, nods from yourself, from your higher self, and from the angels, from our realm. I'm an angel too, who are telling you that you're not crazy and that everything is going to work out. But you have got to take care of yourself. This is, you know, just at least give it, whatever this is. If it's a person, place, or thing, give it 6 months. Give yourself 6 months away from this situation, this person, this place. Just give yourself 6 months. You're worth 6 months of your life to dedicating every day. And if you have a day where you don't want to do anything that's on your path of your goals, that's okay. Then try again the next day and just keep trying, right? Keep trying. I love that. That's been coming up a lot. Thank you so much, Anna. She put that out there. She's like, I'm trying, Lula, right? But we just got to keep trying. Just got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep trying. You fall off, you get back on. You fall off, you get back on. You fall off, you get back on until you don't have to anymore. Till you naturally are where you need to be. I literally had a moment yesterday where I realized that like my lifestyle and certain things that are, sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. Certain things that are happening in my life, I'm like, I cannot do any longer because they don't serve my greatest and highest good, and that I want to do these other things, but I'm having a hard time doing that with someone else's energy. It's like I'm like, I need to go into cocoon for a while and figure my stuff out, you know. And I feel like that's where you are too. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I don't think there's any more cards, but if they want me to pull any more, I will, but I don't think so. Okay, no, those are your messages. Reading 2. You can't go from 7 to 9. You got to get in there, number 8. You got to get in there, Infinity. You got to get in there, Star. This is your show. Starseed. Oh my gosh. I mean, the obvious. I love you so much. Until next time, if you need anything, go into my channel. You'll see there are messages from Spirit everywhere. On all, like under every tab, there's something there to look at. And if you click on where I welcome witches, healers, and deep down believers in magic, if you click on that, there will be links there for donations, for cards, cash, blessings, whatever you want to send my way for this exchange of energy today. And I am in gratitude for you, just as I know you are in gratitude for me. So with that grace and gratitude, I send you on your way with blessings of self-care. It's self-care summer, baby. Whenever you watch this, it's still self-care summer. I love you. I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Self-care, self-care, self-care. Welcome, reading 3. Man, just when you're like, I'm not sure where you want to start with this, because they built this like awesome altar. We've got messages in here. We've got cards over there. And then I was like, scattered and ungrounded, and I was like, it was like 1 minute I was like la 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 la, and then I was like, oh my gosh, oh my god, and then I just started to feel everybody's energy, and it was intense. So I love you. Spirit loves you. It's time to love yourself. When I looked, it was 22601, which is also the number 11. If you're asking who you are, what your purpose is, you are an angel, you are a starseed, you are a light worker. Now, if you know, I tell people all the time, you know, some people feel the need to, speaking of, you know who you are. Some people, I wouldn't say feel the need, but some people enjoy watching all of the episodes that I do because they feel like every reading they learn something. So if that's the case, that's awesome. Welcome. But also, I am getting this vibe that like this, if you don't resonate with this in the next like 2 to 5 minutes, most likely this isn't your reading, or, you know, so go choose another one, or, you know what I mean? But I'm just getting this vibe that like they had me bringing the big guns. Like I'm wearing my bracelets now, bringing in all the, because there's like some serious protection going on. There are a lot of people in the world that think they are something they are not. But I would say the majority of you here are really, really, really old earth human energy, old soul energy, God hand energy, protective. I almost feel like I don't even want to wear this. I almost feel like I want to put this around here. Like, yeah, and maybe this is it. Like, maybe you guys are, you know, maybe this is for you to, like, you know, start taking better care of yourself. Lapis. It's interesting because that's lapis, and then there's a nice chunk of lapis here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I feel like you guys know, but you're taking a long way to get there. Look at this spiral. So the snail wanted to come in today, and I wasn't sure where they wanted to be. I actually forgot I put them up there. Because I do the readings, and I've learned now, like at least now since I've been back, you guys know I took kind of a sabbatical, but now that I've been back on a regular basis, I don't just go through the readings. Before I would just try and plow through them all. Now it's like I take a break in between, I take a walk, I go do something, you know. And so by the time it gets to like, you know, whatever, it's like it's been maybe 5 or 6 hours, you know. But it's cool because I have the beautiful privilege to be in this energy and explore it more further. And your energy, by allowing me in, you know, by coming into here, you're allowing me into your energy space. And so you're teaching me as well. We're just constantly looking out for each other and teaching each other. So I'm hearing lapis lazuli is definitely one for you to work with right now. Lapis. Okay, so lapis and anything else here that you're drawn to. And if you don't know what it is, you can ask me. And you could say, hey, the one in front of the, you know, I mean, I could just go through and tell you, I guess. So labradorite, apophyllite, lapis. This is the lapis lazuli that's on the cuff. Maybe you guys are meant to see this. I never noticed how much this one kind of looks like a heart. And then we have Larimar. And I forget what all of these are. Anna, president of the Magical Medium. She got me this one. And then bloodstone, clear quartz crystal, tiger's eye. Oops. Carnelian. And I don't know what this is made of. My husband got this for my birthday last year. I'm like, oh, it's so cute, the snail. Actually, I cried at first because like, no, not a snail. I'm like, that means that like it's going at a snail's pace. I'm like, I don't want that. But you know what the interesting thing was? My birthday last year felt like it lasted. Did you ever have like those days that you're like, I wish this day would just last forever? Because like everything about it is just good. Like that was my birthday. That was my birthday last year. It really was. It was like from the time I woke up, which I was pulled to wake up when the sun rose, and it was so magical because we were living up in the cabin up on the hill. And so I saw the most magnificent sunrise I've seen in many, 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 many moons. That was the way I woke up, and then the whole day was just really magical. And he gave me this, but the funny thing is, looking back on it now, it's like I saw this in a different way, but the day seemed to last forever. And then when it was done, it was so good that when it was done, I wasn't like, oh, it's over. I was like, that was an awesome day. And I like went to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of feel like that's what you guys need. You need like an awesome day. By the way, the tiger's eye jumped ship, so that means you probably need to work with it. Or maybe you haven't and you've been avoiding it, you know, because tiger's eye is tough love. Most of these stones are pretty intense, you know, or they're intensifiers, you know what I mean? So it could be that, you know, these crystals wanted to talk to you guys. I may need to do, I don't know if you guys remember on Lula's Labyrinth, you know what's so funny? And I'm not saying this to throw flowers at myself. When I looked down, it was 2/31/31, by the way. You know I'm born on the 13th. Which is also the number 10 completion. Interesting. Ah, did you hear that? Yeah, baby. Have a blessed day. I still haven't... We love you. Thanks for the magic. I never know if it's a... You're welcome. I think it's a crow. I was going to say, or I never know if it's a crow or a raven. Are you a raven? Are you a crow? I was just going to say, they're not allowed to stay. They get chased out of here. Sorry, there's a lot going on. But you guys remember when I started Lula's Labyrinth, I used to do like all these videos that I'm seeing people do now, crystal videos or crystals with music or all this stuff. I was like, man, I was doing all that shit. And I kept, and a lot of my videos kept getting banned because of copyright issues and stuff, but I still tried. Anyway, I'm not saying like, look at me. I'm just saying like, funny how I was channeling that stuff and nobody was like coming to my channel. I had like 65 subscribers back then. Maybe I'll have to bring those back. If you guys are interested, comment below if you'd like me to start doing crystal readings again. Like where I bring the crystals out and like, you know, we do it with music and we Anyway, yeah. So this is so different from the other two readings. I felt it when I was putting it together. I felt it when I sat down. Like, I feel like I'm sitting with my family, like my friends, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm sitting with my people. Welcome. And those of you who are not meant to be here, you'll know, you know? And it's not saying you're not family. I'm just saying, like, I feel like these messages are just way different and so much more intense. And interesting, before we started with the dark energy, and now they're pulling right away to the tarot. The last few readings we started with the dark shadow, and this one we're going straight in for the tarot. This came out, I think, at the end of reading 1. And then when I was shuffling for reading 2, at the end, when I was putting the cards away after reading 2 was over, it popped out and I read it and I was like, oh man. And this is how I feel like you are. I don't know how you see yourself. Maybe you do see yourself this way, but I feel like this is who you are. You're Lady Justice. It's also number 11, another angel, I honestly feel, interestingly enough, this reading is for cycle 7 of the moon, and it's third quarter / last quarter moon, and it's about transition and forgiveness. And it's so interesting because I feel like when we do these readings, a lot of times it's about like what we're transitioning out of, and this is about transition and forgiveness, and it's like, and then what we're forgiving. And with this, like, all of a sudden I feel like I got the, by Jove, I think she's got it, like, eureka. and I feel like this is what they're trying to tell us, that whether you like it or not, you are a light worker, you are a starseed, like, you are an angel. You're an angel. So the last reading was about relationships. This is about relationships too, but like, it's interesting because I feel like they've been kind of alternating the energy as it's been going, in terms of like reading 1 to reading 2 to reading 3. And drink some water. And I'm feeling, I'm feeling exhausted. But it's not like, how do you want me to say this? The energy out there is exhaustive. Oh, interesting. This came up in reading 1 too. So maybe this is a sign you need to go watch reading 1 as well, because they're not having me like put it out there. They're just like, it's a wink wink. Or maybe there's something that's going to tie in from reading 1 to this, but I'm hearing like that and put it away. But Lady Justice wanted to stay, and we'll explain that later. So do you want to pull any more tarot right now? Okay, my throat chakra is getting so tight and I'm getting so emotional, and I love you guys so much. I cried so hard in reading 1. Oh, reading 1 was hard. Okay, so these two just pulled out, and I just want to make sure because, okay, everybody, okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, let me just first do this. Okay, let me first do this. You got it. Okay. And I just want to make sure. Was it those 4? They're like, you know what they are. Okay. Yes. And they're like, here, you'll know when you see the sign, because this was from reading 2. So if you were pulled to reading 2, you need to go watch that Colorless Angel. Oh my gosh. Shit. And I feel like I'm hearing Anna going, girl, this is why I watch all 3 of them. I just save myself time. Oh, Anna, I miss you so much. We need a video chat. We really need a video chat soon. I know I say that, but I really mean it. Soon could be next week, or it could be 6 months from now. And unfortunately, it's like, unfortunately, that's just the way things roll sometimes in my world. Oh my gosh. It was upside down, and I swear to you, I saw angels in chains. I swear to you, with all that's holy, I saw angels, because it was upside down, and I was trying to read it, and I heard angels in chains. And did you hear that heavy truck just go by? Oh, that heaviness. It's actually really hard for me sometimes to live here because, little side note where I live, because there is a huge pulp mill that's like not very far from where we live, and sometimes it's really hard to see the beautiful giants, the trees go by. It's so hard to see them go by because I think of trees as family. That one kind of felt like that. It felt like that kind of energy. And I'm feeling like a death energy, but I'm also hearing it's okay. It's okay. So, angels in chains, but it's anger in chains. 29, which is also number 11. Angel, fuck. I mean, come on, you guys. Fuck. Angel in chains. Oh, but look at how the labradorite and the apophyllite like want to protect it. So I wasn't sure if we were gonna like just blow them all out, and I just heard no. So I'm going straight to the book. Oh my gosh, it opened up to 28 though, which is really interesting because 28. Let's see what it is. Perchance to Dream. It's in the new moon phase. So this deck is, you know, obviously dealing with our dark energies, the shadow, blah blah blah, but it also has the moon cycles, as you can see, and it has the stages of death. So when I was just saying, I'm like, I feel like we're in a death and a rebirth. Like, no shit, Sherlock Holmes, we're like using this deck. But at the same time, I'm like, I just felt like this huge aha moment, and I feel like you guys, you're ready, man. I feel like I feel like you are transitioning into whatever it is. And I feel like what's interesting is I feel like so many of us were very similar, because there's my core tribe that you know who you are, like you've been with me from the beginning, and then and you're all my tribe. I love you. We are all family. And then there's some of you that just joined yesterday, you know what I mean? And you're welcome here. All are welcome in the grace and gratitude of love and life and abundance and happiness and healing, you know, faith, hope, all those good things. If you're here to learn, you're here to teach, grow, yes. But if you're here for any other purpose, you know, this isn't where you need to be right now. But yeah, there's like a massive transition happening, which is interesting because we're in transition and forgiveness. We're in cycle 7. And I feel like this is, think about this for a second. This is the last, it's not just the end of the Cancer moon. So I've been like super emotional all over the place. But also we have the new moon in Sag. Oh my gosh. It's my Sag fire wanting to overtake my third deacon of Leo. But my Leo's like, whoa, move out of the way, bitch. No, it's me. I love Leos. The new moon in Leo, it's going to be really powerful. The way they've been overlapping, I've been talking about this, the breadcrumbs they've been showing us, they've been overlapping. So each energy is getting about 6 weeks this year. You know, so it's like, right? So we're at the end of Cancer, but we've been in Sagittarius now for a week. So it's, you know, or, you know what I'm saying? Like we went into the Sagittarius almost a week, I guess. It's the 27th. But this past week we went into fire. We left water of Cancer and we're going into fire. And then we will go into the new moon of Leo, which will be fire. You know what I mean? And then we'll have, you know, the 28 days, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it almost feels like about 6 weeks. We also have Mercury retrograde coming, but that is really good because it also like clears things away. It makes things feel like they're standing still for a minute so we can figure shit out. So thank you, Mercury retrograde. We thank you with grace and gratitude. We are in the shadow of that right now. And they are just opening our minds, our hearts, and our souls to let us know that there is something bigger, something greater coming, right? Something wicked this way comes, but an always good wicked, right? Like Wicked's coming out this year. Like, come on. Like all this fucking cool shit is happening. But the Lionsgate / Dragon's Gate portal on August 8th is going to be one of the most powerful ones we've ever seen on planet Earth. It's going to be a parade of spirits. Crystal from the Psychic Soul, I love her. And if they call me to, I will put a link to, and Crystal, if you still watch my channels and this is your reading, put any links you want below. Always feel free to share your links, you guys. If it's in the greatest and highest good of everyone, if it's not some self-serving, you know, whatever, I'm fine with that. You know, but anyway, I love her meditations, and she's doing a Lionsgate portal meditation, and I feel like I'm meant to listen to it before that or either on the day of. So I will also pass it along so you can listen to it. She's just really powerful. I can just feel how loving and kind and sweet she is. There's such a kindness to her. Her name's Crystal. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know if she named herself, but either way, still, we're in the crystal energy right now. So with that being said, yeah, it's beautiful. It's summer. Windows are open. What can you do? but yeah, it's like this bulldozing energy of like they're just going to come on through, and they're like, as long as we're holding the high vibration, that's all they want us to do right now. It's just like, so if that means staying alone, you know, if you thrive better with people, then make sure that it's a community of people, that it's like when you get there you're like this, and then when you leave you're like this, you know what I mean? It's like these are your people. If you are going into a situation like this and someone's like this, they're going to bring you down with them. I mean, it's like, you know, elementary, dear Watson, speaking of Sherlock Holmes, right? So it's just like, they're like, it's simple fucking math. You're dealing with people who aren't dealing with their shit, you're going to be in their shit. You can't pull somebody up to where you are. Think of all the work that you've done. Think of everything that you've done to get to where you are. If you are in this reading right now, you are so powerful, you know, right? So now it's about self-acceptance. It's about transitioning and stepping into your power and stepping into your gifts and who you are. And stop hiding behind your job or hiding behind your person or hiding behind your parents, your kids, whatever. And, you know, you cannot hide behind them anymore. You know, we have so many people in our tribe that are in my age range and older. And then it's like, it's interesting. It's really cool. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I've researched the demographics of this channel, and it's mostly people between like 18, 21 to like 34, and then like early 50s to like 80. So, you know, my job is to heal the healers, wake the witch. Like, I'm here to help you. I'm like, that's my job as a fellow you. I'm a channel for your higher self to tell you to move it along, get your ass going, get that fire under your ass, right? Oh, look at the labradorite, right? Because you're not protecting yourself. I had the labradorite up all nice and pretty and shiny, right? But if you're not protecting yourself, this is the raw side. And that's what I feel like you guys need right now, is the raw, tough love. Because the other side of this is all shiny and pretty. And you can keep living in the shiny, pretty, you know. I had a friend once, and, well, I'm going to leave it there because that's where it wants to be. I had a friend, and I cherished them, and I cherished their friendship and everything that we had together. But the one thing that drove me mad, which I had to walk away from, was the constant need to be the best and be better. And my family was like that, and where I grew up, it was so fucking competitive in the Midwest. It was like we were born and bred to fucking hate each other, not support each other. It was like, no, it's a dog eat dog. You fucking be the best. You claw that bitch out of your way. I don't care if she's your best friend. You want that crown? You knock that girl down and break her ankle so she can't do her dance routine. I mean, just dark shit, man. Because, you know, there was just this false facade, especially after, you know, in the 50s. It's like after World War II, there was so much grotesqueness. Like we had just all seen enough in storybooks and history and whatever, and then like seeing it, having television and be able to see and hear people really, you know, where they didn't, you know, have the software to like change it or enhance it. I mean, I'm sure they did because they probably were time travelers, but whatever. You know what I mean? Some people believe that. Some people believe that Auschwitz and that kind of stuff never happened, and that it's all like fake, like they faked it. And they're like, they didn't have the stuff back then. They're like, people were time traveling. You're like, give me a break. They're like, they could have made that film and brought it back and showed it, you know, and you wouldn't know the difference. Is that true? Could that happen? Absolutely. It could happen. Is it true? I don't think so. I think that really happened. I think those things really happened. And even if they didn't, which is kind of sick to say they didn't, but even if they didn't, right, isn't it still just to show the grotesqueness of pushing, you know, these bodies that have been starved to the brink of extinction or shot and pushing their bodies into a hole? I know, I'm sorry. It's hard. I have family from Germany. I've never done my research. Or I haven't done the extensive research because my family, it's like every time I tried to ask or find out or whatever, I need to do one of those background things. But I wouldn't be surprised. There's so much darkness in my family. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, like when what's her name? That country kitchen lady, Paula Deen, where there was something that got out with her using the N-word, and when she kept saying, no, I'm not prejudiced, but they caught her saying it, and she's like, and then her thing was, you know, everybody talks like that, it doesn't mean anything, whatever. And it's like, no, no, they don't. But then when they did her background thing, then she like, you know, was trying to save face with that. Then she like volunteered to do the background because, right, she was like, oh, my family, apparently my family were really wealthy. Yeah, well, I guess she wasn't prepared to find out that her family had 134 slaves. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if that's the exact number, but it was something like that. It was something that horrific. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Like if you're born and bred in that, it's like, you know, it's like you see these movies where, you know, some people treated them with respect and love and kindness in their home, and then when they were out, they still did, but they just tried not to talk to them at all because, you know, you were considered weak if you treated your, you know, your slaves, your help, if you treated them like one of you. You know, it's like all this fucked up like mind control rhetoric bullshit, you know. And it's like we are here to be the people that are shining the light on that shit and saying, hey, see that, see how dark and fucking murky that really is? That's a fucking person underneath there that you're dulling their light and trying to kill them. That's a human being. And then they're like animals. Well, fuck, what about your animals? The fuck? You know what I mean? It's like we're human beings, we're animals, we're all living beings. We all deserve respect. And that's why the owl is front and center, man. You know, I always say if there are ever animals in the reading, it's for you to work with on your own. Research owl spirit medicine, work with owl spirit medicine. Whatever you're called to, that's what your medicine is. Whatever you see first, whatever feels good. That's your medicine. But there is just, you know, and look how she's like floating. Like, you know, this is what we are. When I see this card, I see me and Bubba, right? Because she's fighting for justice. That's the sword. Swords are about communication, right? So she's fighting for justice, the scales of justice for Libra. You know, it's like, because we're here to bring the balance back. That's our job. So we don't have the time or the luxury to just give to one person, one organization, we are here to help a lot of people on a very grand scale. And if you're in an energy field that's depleting you where you can't give that, then you have to recognize that. And so what I started to realize with my own personal stuff over the last week, it's like the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, my partner and I have had time together and time apart. And it's just, we are growing, what's that word, exponentially or whatever. And just them, like they told me they had this beautiful like ceremony with these men, and I was like, what? Like I was so excited to hear about that. I was like, that's so fucking righteously rad. Like I was so proud of them. And then in the same swoop they told me something else where I was like, what? Like I don't even understand that, like, you know what I mean? But that's okay because that's where they are. But I was just like, yeah, we need further time apart. Like, you know, like I need to like you know, figure things out. I need to, you know, work with energies and, you know, so I kind of feel like this is the same for you guys. Like there's something going on that is inhibiting you and prohibiting you from fully coming correct as your angelic self. So this first card, it says Anger and Chains 29. There's stuff going on there. There's some major, and it's like I almost don't even know where to put it. Like I don't want to put it in front of the angel, and I don't want to put it in front of the fire, but maybe you need to go in front of the fire. Maybe that's the point, is that this needs to be here for a minute. So I'm gonna read the card. All right, and also the card before this, the stage is denial, and the moon phase was new. So I feel like in this next moon phase that's right around the corner, and whenever you watch this, it's timeless. So the next new moon, it's time for you to step out of the denial and speak and write into being exactly who you are and what feels, what resonates in your gut. You know, reading 1, we spoke about that. Like we spoke about like, you know, like what's resonating like in your soul, in your gut. What does your fucking intuition tell you? What does your truth tell you? Stop denying your intuition. Stop denying your intuition. Stop denying your wisdom. Stop denying. Stop making excuses for yourself, for other people. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. That's okay. But instead of like, when you have the bad day, be in the bad day. If you're like, I'm going to eat this, don't feel like shit the whole time you're eating it. Just eat it. If you want it, fucking eat it and say, I love you. I know you're not the best for me, but I love you. Thank you for nourishing my mind, body, and soul today. And drink a lot of water. Try and eat something healthy to counterbalance that. And if you feel like crap the next day, just, you know, take care of yourself. It's basically like, I've been saying this, and I feel like this is what Spirit is getting, is what they're trying to tell us. It's like, it's all like, it's just basic shit. It's basic shit. I don't have it with me right now, but, or actually, you know what? I do. I'm like, actually, I do. Hold on. Okay, and drink some water. Okay, so speaking of going back to the basics, so this is from one of my most prolific shaman, Layla Lee Spider Woman, who I walk with for 2 years. And one of the things that she had said to me, because I would take notes, you know, because she's amazing, and she said, go back to the basics. Eating, sleeping, drinking water, meditation, shitting, but doing it consciously. Like, she always said it like it was. That's what I loved about her. She's a gypsy witch, Native American, like, you know, like she was like all in, like she saved my soul on more levels than I can count. Anyway, but it's about doing it consciously. Eating consciously, not just like shoving your face with food and trying to get to somewhere, right? Drinking water consciously, you know, saying thank you, Spirit, for this delicious water. Thank you for nourishing my mind, body, and soul. Being conscious about everything, being in gratitude. Sleeping consciously, right? Turning everything off, not falling asleep. You're gonna fall. I do it. I fall asleep in front of a movie at least once a week, right? But I also have nights that I consciously, you know, brush my teeth, wash my face, get ready for bed, and go to bed. So, you know, it's like, it's that kind of thing, like getting grounded. Like I said at the beginning of this, I was having a hard time, and I know a lot of it's because so many of us are empaths, so you're taking that energy from everybody. Why do you think I haven't reached out? So many of you've reached out to me on so many levels. I'm not messaging, or today I think I responded to like 10 messages in my in my inbox for the Magical Medium, and I was like, that took a lot out of me. But I was like, I'm gonna try to consciously respond as much, even if it's just one thing a day, you know. So if I respond to one of your things but not like 20 of your other, you know what I mean, it's like but I'm grateful. Thank you. I thank you for the algorithms and the commenting and all of that. Thank you, you know. But I'm just saying, like, I read them, I see them, but I just can't be in that moment all the time, because my energy is just so bound to the divine, and so is yours. So be very conscious with your energy and when you're in your meditation. So she said, start each day with 3 breaths. So when you wake up, I did this, I got out of this practice too. You know, you guys remember when we used to do the challenge, the 7-day challenge? We did I think a 28-day challenge. That was the biggest one we ever did. That was hard. I don't think I'll ever do it again. That was really hard. But we did it. But if I'm called to, I'll do another challenge. I'll try and do one before we go into fall. But if not, I'll try and do them before the end of the year. Whatever I'm called to do. And make sure you subscribe. And I don't know if it's something that it'll be a contribution basis, or if it'll be like one of these where it's like you can, you know, donate if and when you want to. I always do implore you, though, to do the exchange of energy, because I think part of the reason why some of you are struggling in your poverty consciousness is because of the exchange of energy. And you know, with me, with yourself, with, you know what I mean? Either if you're in a take, or you're in a give, it's like, it's just got to be reciprocal. It's got to be give and take. And that's how it all works, right? So start each day with 3 breaths. Also, I saw the number 3 for you guys. So you may want to work with the number 3 in whatever capacity, whether it's numerology, maybe your life path 3, could be an angel number. But start each day right when your eyes open. Whether you wake up naturally, whether you wake up with an alarm, when your eyes open, take 3 breaths. Listen to your heartbeat. And it says, you are what you think you are. So I am what I think I am. So if you think, you know, you're a warrior, goddess, you know, whatever, then be in the warrior goddess mindset. Start dressing like it, looking like it, you know. I've been getting these downloads everywhere about embodying what we want to be instead of waiting for it to happen. We're not in that. And a lot of us natural witches and angels, right? We are so used to, we've been able to manipulate like energy, even if we didn't know we were doing it. Now we can look back on it and recognize, I know I do. I look back on everything from my childhood, teachers, my family, friends, lovers, you name it, parents, how much manipulation. And I was taught by the best, you know, the narcissism, like all the ego and all that, because we knew we were different. We knew we were special. And for those who like made us feel bad about ourselves, right, or the black sheep mentality, then we just wanted to push past that, right? We were like, fuck that. Like, I want to push past that. So, you know what? I'm just going to be even more weird and more strange so that nobody likes me. And then you become the outcast, or that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all of this like workings of our mind. And Spirit is saying, you are what you think you are, but you have to embody it. And if you're embodying something that you believe you are, but the money's not coming, the changes aren't happening, then it could be that you're stuck in a false narrative of yourself, of this lifetime or a past lifetime. This has been coming up a lot, where people are taking a narrative from a past life and thinking that it's supposed to be the narrative in this one. It might be something you love, it might be a hobby, but it might not be the full narrative. So if you're just taking something, you know, when people start spouting off, well, in my past life, blah, 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 and I'm an INJF, whatever, blah, blah, like, I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'm fucking love that shit. I love learning about it. I really, really genuinely love it. But there's also, it's like, but who are you at your core? Like, that's part of your makeup of your human design and all that. And that's fucking cool. In fact, I need to learn more about human design. I really need to hit up my sister about that. Because it helps me to, one, understand myself, but to also help you guys to better understand yourselves. And Bubba says hello. She's funny. She's been fiery today. She's silly. She's coming back. That's good. She's been so not good. And so thank you for the prayers and the good energy you've been sending Bubba, and loving up on her channel. She's been having fun playing with her channel while she's been laid up. This has been a really, really rough year for her. So she's going through her own transformation. My Maine Coon. Which is not mine. She belongs to no one, but she's definitely my familiar. So with that being said, that's all they want me to read from that. And if I'm meant to go any further, you know, I have so many wonderful notes from her that have really changed me. There was something on the back page here. This was not from her, actually. This was something that I found. I don't remember where. Actually, you know what? This might be someone's reading. This is what's so fun, because this is someone's reading, but I feel like they would be okay with, I think I know who this is, and I feel like they'd be okay with me sharing it because it's not their name anyway. And if this is you and you're watching this, feel free to claim this, but I'm going to read, you know, the notes that I took when I did this session work with this person. The first thing was, how do I stay present? And the answer from Spirit was flow. But the full thing was, how do I stay present with myself, listen to my needs in shifting / upside down times, and root deeply into my home, love, and friendships? And Spirit said, let go of control. So the first one was, how do I stay present? They say stay in the flow. How do I stay present with myself? And they're saying by listening to your needs while they're shifting upside down. In these times, you need to stay rooted deeply in your practices, in yourself, in your time alone. And if you want to root deeply in your home, then your home has to be a sanctuary and a place that feels safe to you. And if it doesn't, that's not your home and you need to move on. And then the other is, how do I stay present with my love and friendships? Let go of control. Every one of us is going through something so massive right now. And I'm hearing from some of you, the control you're concerned about is that if you leave this person, or if you leave this situation, that they're going to harm themselves or harm others. That is not your responsibility. Those of you who've been with me a long time know that my partner and I, it really hit where I was like, no, I'm done. I've gone as far as I can. I love you, but I love me more. I'm out of here. I was all Samantha on his ass from fucking Sex and the City. I was like, I love you, but I love me more. I gotta go. And we broke up, and he tried to kill himself. And he lived. And he was in the hospital for a month. And he was on a feeding tube through his stomach for months. That was the path he chose. That's not my fault. He would never sit here and say to you that I tried to kill him, right? What he tried to do was kill the demon inside of him, the addiction that wouldn't leave. And no matter what he did, he could not. So he would rather be dead. He didn't want to hurt himself, and he didn't want to hurt me, and he didn't want to hurt anybody anymore. Well, he lived because Spirit's like, nope. You're not taking the easy way out. Like, It sucks. Now you're going to have to heal to get back. But I mean, he really did it. I mean, he really tried anyway. Like, it's a fucking miracle he's alive. It's a miracle he's alive. They wouldn't even, like, let him out of the hospital because they're like, you realize he tried to kill himself. And I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And they have no proof that he tried to kill himself. Except for that he was injured beyond, you know, whatever. But in the end, he went back to his addictions because it didn't do it. And you can't take the easy way out. You have to go through and get to the core, to the root of the fucking addiction to find out why. I spoke about my own addictions in the other readings. It's the same thing. But just because I found out the core and the root to it, I'm working with it, but it still doesn't take the impulse out of wanting to do that addiction, or the habit of wanting to do that addiction, or the feeling of wanting to do that addiction. Still working on that. You're not perfect. You're not supposed to be. Neither am I, and neither is he. He told me the other day that he shared his story with one of his clients. I'm like, really? One of his lady clients, like one of his older lady clients. And she's like an accountant. She's not even, you know, but she was like fascinated by his story. And I'm like, dude, you've got to write a book. I told him he's got to do like a YouTube channel. I mean, he's so powerful. He has so much to share and to give. And he did some, you know, plant medicine work with some people recently. And I was like, you know, every time you share that stuff, I'm like, you're like this like awesome being, and you tell me these stories. I'm like, but then you come home and I get this like very broken, sad, lost, empty, the remnants of all of that version of you. And I said, that's not how we show up for each other. That's not a relationship. That's codependency. And that's a friendship, or that's roommates, but like that's not a romantic like love friendship, you know, that I want to have. And I just have been more honest about my relationships recently because I feel like we really, really, really have to talk about it. It's imperative. So, and that's all relationships. This is just the one that I'm working through right now for my own, like that's my last, like, he's like my shell. He's like that last shell, you know, that like, so that I can propel forward. Then the next one is Alexander meant to stay in Olympia? Now I don't remember who that is, but this could be for you, or this could be like, are you meant to stay somewhere? And Alexander could be the stand-in for the name of you. It could be for another person, and Olympia could be like wherever you are, where, you know what I mean? Then the next question was Sawyer, which is really funny because I heard Tom Sawyer. And then it was like, the question was friend, like question mark, and Spirit was like, no. So I feel like they're having me read this for a reason, because I feel like this could be like whoever you're asking about. Are they a true friend? And I'm hearing no. And it could be somebody who's a writer, or somebody who loves to read, or maybe Tom Sawyer's like one of their favorite books. I mean, it could, and now mind you, this could be for one fucking person. So, you know, let it ride if it doesn't click with you. The next one was release deep fear. No fear. Like, look at how that, like, no fear. No fear. Release deep fear. No fear. And then the song to work with was Sia, S-I-A, the artist Sia. And it was from her album 1,000 Forms of Fear, and Big Girls Cry is the song. And I don't know if there's a song on there called 1,000 Forms of Fear, but I mean, I feel like Spirit's saying like, exactly, you can go through this life with 1,000 forms of fear. and look at, I'm like choking, and not speak your truth. Or you can fucking cut through that fear and say fear doesn't exist. It is a man-made creation. That is what is pulling my relation. That's what I started to realize. The relationships that I had to pull away from were ones that they're still in fear base, and I cannot be there. I have my own shit. We are all responsible now. Moving forward, we are all responsible. It's one thing when you know, are friends and you're like, hey, and you're like, whatever. But when it's like your relationship is, and you think it's a quote unquote friendship, but it's really just like really draining. It's like you have to just go, nope. I spoke of Kate Hudson earlier. I said Cher was our spirit animal for the last gig, and Kate Hudson's for this one. But she has this song called Glorious, and I like bawled my eyes out because it was so perfect for anyone who's ever had that relationship, friendship, lover, whatever, but where it's like it was glorious once, but it's like those days are gone, like the past is gone, like you can't bring it back, like it's over. It's over. It's gone. You can't bring it back. And we're not supposed to bring it back. And why would you want to bring it back? Because you're not the same person. They're not the same person. And this anger, I said angels in chains, but it's anger in chains because it's like the only one that's keeping you in this place is you. And you're either afraid for them or you're afraid for yourself. But either way, look at this X. And you're not using your throat chakra. Or I'm saying like your throat chakra's blocked because you're not speaking your truth. And it's like, drink some water. The fear does no good for anybody. And then the Carpenter's version of When I Fall in Love, right? It will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. So now listen, you can fall in love with somebody, but that doesn't mean that you still like them, and it doesn't mean that, you know, we fall in and out of love all the time. We weave in and out of energy all the time. So our romantic relationships are going to do the same. Our personal relationships, friendships, work, everything. We're constantly changing and constantly evolving. If you're in somebody's like fucking merry-go-round that just keeps going around and around, it's the same shit. They go to their work, they come home, they eat, you know what I mean? It's like they go out and party on Saturday with their friend. It's like the same. You are caught in their energy field. You have to some of you guys know, you have to rip yourself out of it. You have to rip yourself out of it. Look at that owl is looking straight at you. So, Spirit says, but love you, love you, love you. Led Zeppelin's Whole Lot of Love. I got a whole lot of love. Right? So, those are our songs. Interesting. I wonder if they'll have me use those as themes. By now, you'll already know, and I don't. I love that. Okay, so now we're going to jump to this card. Anger and Chains. So the moon is the waning crescent. Right now, we're in the last quarter, third quarter moon, but by the time you see this, we'll be in the waning crescent. And the stage is anger. Like you're mad. Like, why? Why won't this work out? Why won't this happen? Oh my gosh, you guys. I've never felt like... I feel like I gotta cough it out, choke it out. And I was like, should I go get some more water? They're like, no, because this is you. You gotta choke through it. It's not pleasant. Some shit, you know, breaking up is hard to do. So your higher self this is you arguing with your higher self. It says, force channeled outside, unreasonable, undirected, but powerful. So you're channeling all this outside, you're channeling this force from energy, and you're thinking you're going to do it for good, like Linda the Good Witch, like it's like, you know, like you're just going to fucking wave your magic wand. It's not. It's an inside job happiness, and you cannot bring happiness to anyone else but yourself. And you are the only person you should be bringing happiness to. I watched something recently where it was a movie, and the mother was like super hip and like into like, you know, she was very spiritual, but the daughter was like, you know, SATs and getting into school and like being perfect and college and like all this stuff. And they just like had this moment where like the mom's like, well, you know, she was like, Mom, I don't, you know, and she's like, got to figure it out, kiddo. She's like, you're fucking 17 years old, man. Like, you got to figure it out. And she was like, you know, the friend was like, you know, your mom's so mean or whatever. And she's like, I know. She's, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then like the mom's friend was like, you know, that was good. You know, sometimes they need to hear, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, because the mom was just like, nothing's going to be easy. You have to work hard for it. You can't just, you know, I'm not just going to give it to you. If I just give you, right, like, why do you think so many rich people, like, not a lot, right, or not everyone, but a lot of, there's a great portion of rich people, kings, queens, especially like royalty, like if you're married into it, you know what I mean, where it's like this entitlement. And they get angry if they don't get their way, right? Because they're used to getting their way. So when they don't, they actually like people who push back, because they get tired of the yes man, the yes woman who's always like, yes, okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. How many times have you said that's okay? How many times have you said, you know what, it'll be okay, everything, If you're in some type of relationship and when I looked down, it was 313, which is also the number 7. It was 31307. So, which is also the number 5 in the lowest denominator, which is change and transformation, which is what this is about, right? We also spoke of 3 and 13, and 1 and 3 is 13 is the divine goddess, feminine energy, but it's also 4, and it's about balance. Sorry. I feel like this is you getting, like, I'm spitting it out. And it's about balance. You are not balanced in your energy. And it's time to get balanced. And what does the owl do? They watch, they observe. Do not allow other people's energy to influence yours anymore. If someone comes home and they're having a bad, shitty day, either let it roll off you like a water off a duck's back, pull in your protection, ask Archangel Michael, be like, protect me from this energy, call on, Raphael for healing, be like, can you please help heal, this person, because I can't help them at this time. They're really struggling, or you get out of there. Be like, I'll come back when you're, I'm not gonna, I don't have it in me to let you dump on me today. And, because the other thing too is if you've been a certain way to certain people all the time, then sorry. I got this because, like, oh, how cute with, like, the pouches in front. I was like, I feel like a kangaroo with the pockets. But when I sit, it's like this very uncomfortable. I'm like, I will never wear this again. So I hope you enjoyed it, because it's super cute, but I'm never going to be in this energy. Never going to do this again because it's just uncomfortable. Anyway, exactly, right? Like, why would I wear this again and be uncomfortable? I won't. I learned it the first time. I'll wear something else. I have other clothes, right? I thought, oh, it's going to be cute. I'm so comfortable in it. I was like walking around. It's like, these are like my comfies. I'm just going to be in my comfies while I do this today. I haven't sat in them. I've only been walking around in them. It's like, this is a metaphor for you. Aren't you done sitting around with this same old stale energy that's never going to change unless it changes itself? You cannot change this person or this energy, I'm telling you. So, unreasonable, undirected, but powerful. Because you're in the anger stage. The visual seed is lions and sparks and chains and signs and lines all meddle together, geometry and colors like an explosion. And what is that? That's overwhelming. And look at the fucking lion, like the Leo energy, right? It's like the X is trying to block things out. You're like, and you're roaring because you're like, rah! I heard Katy Perry's Rise before this started. And that came in that's been coming up a lot. Katy Perry's coming back, man. She's bringing that divine feminine like crazy. It's like Taylor Swift's like, you work on American Idol. I'm going to go here on tour. And then I'm going to end my tour. And you know what I mean? You come in and, no, seriously, like the divine feminine, the goddesses are like just bringing the medicine, man, like hardcore. So, this you're the only one that's chaining yourself to this. And the waning crescent, it's like, that's the waning crescent is sorry, I've been sitting for hours, is the rest and restore energy. The last phase of the moon is the waning crescent, number 8. And if you're drawn to reading too, number 8 was very pivotal in that. So if that's been coming to you a lot, you might want to go look at that reading. So this is no joke, my friends. This is some real shit. So the sentence is, I've got to break free. I've got to break free. I want to break free, right? From fucking Freddie Mercury and Queen. Like, yeah. Oh man, right before this phrase came to me. And if I'm meant to, I will put it, always look in the description box and all that for little pearls of, extra little breadcrumbs, things to lead you here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, wow, that's really powerful. because that's so significant with something that I've been working on. And then this phrase came, and if it comes back to me, I will. But the last thing was, I want to be free. So, I mean, this is it. Well, I just got the chills. Going dark. Anger is not the road to clarity. It's not a controlled effort or a cold dish. It is raw, primal, explosive. It is the loss of reason, the loss of restraint, a bomb burning bright in black color, a wax seal carefully crafted to be single to, ooh, wait, hold on. Ooh, wait, this is really intense. I gotta make sure I read this right. Do you guys ever get where the letters like and numbers jumble? It's more than being dyslexic. I think it's part of our magic and like how we see things the way Spirit wants us to see things. So we're pure magic, you know. Also, I want you to start saying on a regular basis, I am magic, I am magic, I am magic, I am pure magic, I am a child of the divine. Like every day, I am abundant, money flows to me. I mean, it's so funny. We've been like working our asses off and just like, you know, doing the best we can. And normally I'd be like, where are we? Like, where are we in saving, blah, blah, blah. And about a week ago, you know, Alder was like, hey, things are really, you know, doing well. Like, you know, our house is coming, you know, like thinking positive and stuff. And he's like, I've been doing really good. And I'm like, oh, I know you're working so hard. And he's like, do you want to know how much? And I was like, no. I'm like, I don't want to know. Or I think I started asking. I was like, no, I don't want to know. And then like some time has gone by. And then yesterday he was like, like that. I'm like, okay, tell me. And then he told me, I'm like, dude, that's fucking awesome. And he's like, right? And I was like, that's not even like other things. And you know what I mean? So I was like, cool. I'm like, our house is around the corner. I know it is. I know it is. I know it is. I'm like, I believe in magic and miracles. I believe it. I do. And I know that I've been working my ass off and I've worked everything for this year, for this time, for this house that we're going to, you know, move into. I hope us. I'm saying we, so I hope it's going to be a we. But again, if not, then I know it's like wherever I'm going to go. Maybe it's my own little cabin, my own little home, my own little apartment. I don't know. But you know, I'm feeling like this like very strong foundation because I've been working at it and building at it and building at it, you know, and you have to do it too. You guys have watched me struggle and suffer. You've helped me and supported me as you have helped and supported yourself. Thank you. But you know, it's like, this is the time, and everything you put out into the universe comes back to you tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, however you put it out generously, and doing it from the heart. You know, you send like, I know sometimes you guys will be like, you'll send me $5, $10, $20, and you're like, I wish it was more. I wish. And I was like, you know what though? Hello, that's $5 I didn't have. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Right? Everything helps. So don't just like not put things out there or not help people because you're like, I don't have anything. No, because it's when you give, it's when you're at your lowest and you give, and you do it graciously, not because you're trying to fucking score. You know what I mean? It's like, but when you do it graciously, because it's in your heart, because you want to, because your love is like, I want to help this person. I want to do this for this person. Not like, oh, they're going to give me something free again. Oh, they're going to give this to me. It's like, no. Take a step back and look at the big fucking picture. Because what you reap is what you sow. So, you know, this is very serious right now. So this says, a wax seal carefully crafted to be immediately broken. This anger. But anger is also freedom. How can you break a single thread woven with a million others? How can you unfetter yourself from a bad situation, letting all the rest unchanged? It doesn't work like that. When you need to break free, you need to shake and shout, and more things will be broken than just what you want to hurt. They are like a bundle. You can target, but you cannot choose, right? Break many to break one, save one to save many. And it's on page 42, which is also the number 6, which keeps coming around. Okay, so 369 all this year. It's so incredible and powerful, the angels. So do you hear that? Do you hear what they're saying? Last night, our confrontation, like, it was like so harsh that I got so upset, but then I instantly started crying, and I was like, I love you. And not like it wasn't like a manipulative thing. It was like, I'm sorry, these things have to be said. This is the truth about who we are now, not who we were. This is who we are now. I'm like, I don't want to go back. I want to move forward. I want us to keep moving forward. you know, I want this trajectory to keep plummeting to, you know, the heights, not plummeting to the depths. It's like plummeting is like, people are like, oh, it's plummeting, it's falling down. It's like, yes, but things have to fall down for things to rise up. So it's like, I want things to, you know, yes, be aware of this behavior. Yes, be aware of, you know, how you're shining your light on the world. You know, it's like, are you a bright, shining beacon? You know, are you hiding behind who you are and just a dull flame? You know, it's like, you came here for a purpose. And I'm here to remind you of that purpose. You know, also, this reminds me of a snake. And now is the year of the dragon. Next is the year of the snake. And we're halfway through the year of the dragon, I think, right? So, right? So it's like, this is like, what are you going to shed next year? What are you going to finally let fall away? Maybe you need the next like several months until we get to the snake, so then you can finally, you know, shed it next year. But this is the year of laying the groundwork and the foundations of that, so it can be what it's meant to be. Okay? So I don't know if I'm going to pull any more cards. I kind of have a feeling these are not for you. I feel like these, oh, see, they're not. Oh, they're for shorts. Ooh, so you have to stay tuned. I'm not even going to look at them because it'll be fun. So these are for shorts. So always check out the shorts, the community section. I do screenshots. Sometimes I tell you I'm going to do something. If I don't do it, sometimes it's, if I say I'm going to do it, it's because I feel like in the moment I'm supposed to, but then when I go to do it, they tell me no. But then they'll have me like throw it into like, you know, one of my little montage videos or like into something else, you know what I mean? So it always ends up somewhere. But these are your messages. And I don't know if they want us to, oh, you do. Okay. So they do want me to read from the book of the Libra, and then we are going to pounce out. Miss Justice. Miss Justice. Oops. Ooh, and the snail. That's the thing too, is they're like, you've been going at a snail's pace, and that's cool because like that's what was working for you. That's right, Justice is 11. How can I forget? But they're like, it's what's working for you, but it's not working for us. Like they're amplifying, like, now it's time though to step into your power. You know, no more hiding in the shadows, right? Like, this is it. So because it was upright, the keywords are truth, balance, fairness, equality, and harmony. Throat chakra's coming out again. It says the dependable Lady Justice stands for a true balance of the conscious and the subconscious mind, weighing all sides with fairness and full awareness. Lady Justice stands for what is right and determines the best course of action with care. Her furry green companion named Creed stays by her side, displaying before her a golden set of balanced scales. Ugh. And I always read the reverse because, you know, you never know what messages may be lying in there for you. Even in reverse, you know. Oh, and those tentacles remind me. We had a reading a while back where the octopus spirit animal came through. So if you... oh, my throat chakra. Yes, yes, yes. So work with the octopus spirit animal. Okay. And that's a right there is a profound gift, you guys. The fact that the owl and the octopus want to speak with you, very intense. We'll have a last minute message here. So the keywords in reverse are dishonesty, setbacks, and abuse of power. A choice must be made in order for you to take a new direction in life, as all decisions influence the course of fate. Give careful consideration by exploring different points of view. When examining choices, find a balance between your conscience and inner desires. By remaining honest in your actions and acting with integrity, fate will turn in your favor. Wow. Wow. Yeah, so some of you, you're going to go out with a big motherfucking bang. It's going to be a big fight, but it's going to be something that needed to be said. And maybe you're like, I'm not Miss Nicey Nicey anymore. And that fucking lion is going to roar. And it might happen after the new moon, like when the moon goes, you know, because right now we're in Leo energy, but then we'll be in the Leo moon for, you know, 28 days. And then we've got Virgo after that, the grounding earth energy. So, but there is something brewing in the matrix of your relationships. And look at that. And like, look at, because the anger's in the past, it doesn't want to be there anymore. And we are going to have some last minute, I always like to kind of shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Good. Oop. And if anything falls out, then that's cool. But then, do we get any more? And then always look in the community section because they have me usually put like a screenshot. Sometimes they have me do a shorts for it. It just depends. Hold on. The table's right up against the couch, so I'm trying to get in here. Okay. Okay, Spirit. Do we have any more messages? So far we have an N and we have a green heart. Ooh, did that go in the fire? Wait, where did that go? I think that went in here. Ooh, it went into the fire, but I don't know what it is. Oh my gosh, it's almost like it needs to burn away, like they're trying to tell you to burn something away. Wow. So N and a green heart. So it's about working with your heart chakra, the green heart. Working with your heart chakra when you're dealing with this person with an N initial. So that might just be for one person. Let's see if any others come out. Okay, we got a few. Any more? Anna gave me this beautiful little owl. Did you know, Anna, when you got this owl, that this would be the use for it? Okay, so now we got a G. I feel like I'm calling bingo. B7! Anybody? B7? That was awesome. Shit, 2 G's. 2 G's and N. Oh my gosh. And crafted. Let me move that. Okay, hold on. My glasses. I need new glasses. And 4. Okay, so you guys, there's a lot of, like, I don't know if you can, like, really see how many, like, there's a lot in here. And this came out in one of the other readings. So the number 4, balance. I mean, it keeps coming out. And I know we had a G in the other one, but I think it was a T in the other one. So this one's a G, 4, crafted, like your heart chakra. So I don't want to say too much because I feel like these are your messages. So are there any more? Any more, Spirit, before we close up this reading? Okay. Ooh, one flew over here. Just like the scarecrow in the last reading. And a little bit of me. Oh, shut it, you guys. Shut it. Is that 17? I don't have my glasses on. Hold on. Is that 17? Because that was our number. That is crazy. Is it? Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys. I can't make it up, and why would I want to? Also, organic. Organic. That was one of the arguments I had with my partner because I was just like how I'm very strict about certain things like food, my clothing, smells, and all that. And like they're just like not taking my stuff seriously. And I'm like, this isn't me just trying to be a pain in your ass. Work with snail spirit medicine. So basically, anytime an animal is in there, it's for you to work with. But yeah, I was just like, this isn't like a temporary thing. This is real. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be a jerk, you know? So for some of you, get back to organic. And that could be even like, maybe not even your food, but just like organic way of living, right? Like not having any chemicals, well, now we're done because I'm shaking it upside down and it's not even coming out. Okay. So I will leave those out and put a screenshot in the community section so you can go back to it in case, you know, there's any other hidden messages in there for you. Okay, you guys, those are your messages. Thank you so much for hanging in there. And as I've said, all of my information is all over this channel if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, or if you, I also do recorded readings. It's like the low-cost version of my readings. And my recorded readings are $65, and it's very reasonable. They could be 20 minutes or 2 hours, I never know. And then if you want to work with me like over the phone or through Zoom, like you know, this, like through the camera, then it's $100 an hour. Okay. So until then, I hope you are well. I love you so much. Take good care of yourselves and each other, but mostly yourself right now. I'm serious. Really, self-care summer. I'm going to say it over and over and over until we really, really, really take care of ourselves. That's it. I love you. I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh.